Welcome to the Isle Chat podcast with me, Beth,
Josh
and Ryan.
This podcast is all about exploring the big questions, the small moments and everything in between.
Whether you're stuck at the shops, in traffic or just looking for some inspiration, our chat is here to keep you engaged.
It's time to talk, connect and find meaning in those everyday moments.
Welcome to the Isle Chat.
Do you know what I was thinking of as well before? Because I always like speaking about celebrities' weddings and stuff. I keep saying it's doing me head in. Vicky Patterson from Geordie Shore got married recently.
Seen that.
What did you think?
There's
a lot of people do like these wedding programs where they don't have like a videographer. It's filmed by the program like E4. And I always think, and I remember Jess Wright doing it as well years ago. But that was the last one I can recall.
A few of them have done it, haven't they?
Where I just think, is it filmed in the right way?
What do you mean by?
Because I think when people watch it, like couples, when they watch like Vicky's wedding, let's say, I think, do they think that videographers film a wedding in that style?
I see what you mean. Like I know it was only literally recently, and I don't know how recently it was, but I haven't watched anything about it.
I haven't either.
I actually seen, because Becky watches Maths.
Married at First Sight.
Married at First Sight.
People who say that, by the way, it doesn't half like
throw it off.
It throws me off. Maths.
Yeah. Well, maths. I was watching that, and during the adverts, they said Vicky Patterson, my big fat Geordie. His
name was not George. Georgie.
Hello, Georgie. My big fat Geordie wedding. So she's like made an actual show out of this.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Obviously, she's got married for intentions of being married, I presume. But like, do you have to coin in every single thing that you do in your life? I mean, I guess they are reality TV stars, so
people want to.
They're showing their lives.
Yeah, I think it's definitely broadcasters like Channel 4 and ITV will. Their little spin-off channels like E4 and ITVB and ITV2, they will just throw money at reality stars and be like, we'll do the wedding for you. I just don't know how it sits in terms of how the day flows. I genuinely don't think it would flow like an actual wedding. So I think a lot of these reality TV stars will have multiple weddings. They won't just have the wedding you see on the telly. Sadly, I think they have like a different one, which is the real one.
I also think they probably have the film crew filming it, but then they'll also have someone who's actually...
No, I don't think they will.
Talented.
No.
Dare I say, to film it.
Sadly, I don't think they do.
Or maybe they do have multiple weddings, because it's just not... Like, and we speak about it... We speak about it a little bit in today's podcast, about like how structure is important and how coordinators are important and stuff like that. That will just all be dependent on what the channel want, or what the like...
They'll dictate.
Whatever. They'll dictate every single movement and play. I think for me... I mean, I'm not that I'm going to experience it any of the way I did, but like that would really ruin the day for me, to think that I'm under so much pressure to perform for the channel because the channel want you to do this at this time and da. Like, I can imagine it to get to a point where, like, say for example, it was like not a sunny day when they turned up to film, or not like favourable weather conditions. They go, right, we'll have to go to a different day for this.
Imagine.
Like, and all your family's made the effort and stuff like that. I reckon they would go to that degree.
That's one thing I always think about. Imagine actually getting to a wedding and it being like, we're going to postpone it to the next day because of the weather. Now, that nearly happened to us last year in Spain. You know, I would think they would have loved to postpone
the rain in Spain falls gently on the plane, I believe.
Not
I don't know why I keep on doing this.
It's comfort, isn't it? You're getting used to being a producer, aren't you, mate?
It's my first time. So you can even see actually on here. So this little thing here is our little screen that we have to monitor what's going on. This is the board, because no one's really pointed this out before. And every time I switch, so if I switch now to Josh, you can't see it. But when I switch back to me,
there's like a slight delay.
You can see the screen delay.
Yeah, there's like a split millisecond delay.
I'm just giving people a little insight, to be fair. And I'm just sitting here in the corner.
So since our last podcast. Since our last podcast, we have shot 3 weddings. Well, I have. How many weddings have you shot?
I think it's just one. I'll check while
No, Mark and Leanne.
Was that since then?
I feel like we'd done a podcast before this. We definitely didn't mention this on the podcast. Yeah, because we did a wedding. We did a podcast on the Thursday, and then their wedding was on the Friday.
Oh, so yeah, then.
Hi, Mark and Leanne. Shout out to you both.
Shout out Mark and Leanne. Didn't forget about you. I actually just thought it was a different week.
But as I say, it was very close together.
Yeah,
Podcast and their wedding.
Very close.
Gorgeous couple inside and out. Very laid back, very chilled, which suits us down to the ground.
Yeah. Church wedding.
Lovely church wedding.
And I actually really rated the church. I know sometimes from our creative standpoints, churches are sometimes quite challenging, especially for video side of things, because you do have restriction of movement and stuff like that. And it depends how like biblical, I guess, the church want to be about where you are, what you're doing, when you're doing it.
People don't know that though. It's good that you give a bit of insight, because couples who are who want to get married in churches, who are listening, it's good to have this insight, and like it can be one way or the other, where you can go to a church where there's a lot of rules in place, where your photographers and videographers are not able to move around freely,
and they can't get in the places that they want to be. Like a lot of the time, they don't want you to stand on the altar, if you want to call it that, because that's what we know it as. It's probably called something else. But I've had it at only one wedding, to be fair. But I've actually had it where I've turned up at the church with the bride kind of coming in through the doors, and the vicar, priest, whatever it was, basically said to me, just to let you know, we can't have any photography during the ceremony. Nothing.
That's the fun. It is so funny.
I think I've mentioned this before on here, but like nothing. So I went, all right, so just like normally if you've got a registrar, for example, it's like when they're signing or whatever like that. And he went, no, like not at all.
I don't agree with that. I think this.
I don't agree with it at all. That's like the main part of the day, is that they're saying their vows to each other. That's like
I must be honest when I say this. Whenever I do a church wedding, I turn up and I am the most politest, overly happy, overly smiley person, because you want to get on their good book, so they will allow you to do what you need to. Even though we are the most discreet team as it is, I feel like they must have people who go into the church who are really disrespectful, don't listen to them, don't follow the rules. But in that case, in your situation, your job is there to take photographs, and it's a memory for the couple. And there's a part of me that sometimes feels a little bit sad when you do come across churches that implement them rules where you're not allowed to capture it, because the couple are going to look back and think there's no recollection from our church.
And I think sometimes during the ceremony is probably some of the most sentimental moments, obviously for obvious reasons. But like even sometimes when, like, say a little kid runs out from behind a thing and runs up to the mum and dad, or cries as they're walking down the aisle or whatever like that, like real precious moments that they would never do across any other part of the day. And that's happened and you can't capture it.
Yeah.
Or certainly from a point of view that you wanted to. It is crap. Like, I mean, on that day, by the way, I still took pictures and I still moved around during the ceremony. And I kind of was half expecting them to like point it out, and they didn't. So I still got some, don't get me wrong, not as many as I would do normally, because I do like to try and get multiple angles where possible. But like, it's their day. I'm probably going to hell for it. Do you know what I mean? But
do the cross, you'll be fine.
But I got the pictures, so.
At least, I think God would want you to take the photos, right? I'm totally honest with you.
I think he would. I think I had a conversation with him that weekend, and he was like, "You did well, son." Sorry to offend all the
Morgan Freeman,
out
of Bruce Almighty,
faithful people. Yeah, no.
I was actually going to say though. Well, no, I'm going down the rabbit hole here about a conspiracy theory about that Bruce Almighty film, which I know you're a big fan of Jim Carrey, which I will enlighten to you after the podcast.
Okay.
I don't think anyone is interested in listening to that. But while we're on topic of churches, I'm going to go to another wedding that I did during this time. Where am I? And it was Sarah and Lee's wedding, who were married in a church in Middleton. So they got married at they had to do at Middleton Lodge, which I've never shot before, which was a stunning venue. But they had a church wedding, and what was so special about their church wedding was Sarah, the bride, had a surprise for not just the husband, but for the whole wedding party. Have you seen the film Love Actually?
I know what it is. I haven't watched the whole film because I don't really like it.
Very honest, I've Ryan there was, after they being married and they signed the register and they were about to come down as the new Mr. and Mrs., they had basically people sat in the church, right, who were not part of the wedding party, nothing to do with the wedding, but they were performers. So they literally stood up and started breaking out into songs. So they all had instruments. They just pulled out instruments out of nowhere and started performing to the whole church, and it was a complete shock to everybody but the bride. And it's the song off the film, which is "All You Need Is Love." So they was all like,
I love to make it have to do the extra music there.
well, that's what they were all doing, and it was just, and that was it. The fella come down, the main singer come down the aisle like singing to the couple like this, and it was a movie moment, I would say.
And imagine you weren't able to capture that.
That's why you need a videographer, guys. There's a little ad, a little sponsor for myself there. Having a videographer there is making it look like a movie, and you're able to relive it like a movie on your big screen. And I had Laura Wade with me on that one as well. But back to
wait there. Shout out Laura Wade.
Shout out Fred. She said she'd come on. I think she's just done a podcast.
That's like, I can't get this through my head.
Do you wanna change from that? Like
no, well, I mean, yeah, it would have been helpful if it was 1 and 2 rather than 1 and 3, but it doesn't matter.
All right. So Laura Wade's just done a podcast recently, I think. And she said she'd definitely come on ours.
Which one?
Don't know.
Wasn't the Unfiltered Bride?
Wasn't that one?
Was it more of a photography related?
No,
one?
do you know what? It's coming to me now. Is it a girl who makes dresses who does one in our industry? I've got a name, man. It's going to do me head in. I feel like I need to go on Laura Wade's profile to see if she's
done it. She's actually done the podcast.
Well, she has now by the time this goes out.
By the time this goes out, be Christmas.
It'd be funny if she was doing it today. No, there's not any. It's a sort of...
When did we do the last... I'm just looking, because I'm looking at my phone now, because I'm a bit like... curious now when we actually did, because I've getting my dates mixed up.
Right.
The one that we did
the third was the recording. So you've got weddings from the 3rd till the 17th now.
Okay, and we did Mark and Leanne's on
Mark and Leanne, which is at Formby Hall. And what was crazy was... What was fun to me... What?
Still can't get my head around this. I still just done it again.
What was fun to me was my cousins were there, and we had a little conversation on the day about when you see family and friends at a wedding, when you're working it from a supplier's point of view, you find it hard to sort of engage because you don't want to seem like you're not working.
Well, Becky's can't my cousin.
So, yeah.
Well. Becky's cousin, in fact, Becky's family was there as well. And it was funny because I did not know, like I really didn't know that they were going to be there at all. And I opened, when we went to Leanne's and obviously knocked at their door, and like, obviously people open the door to you all the time. The last person I was expecting was to see Becky's cousin Claire there. And it took me back.
Did you think?
Surprise. I was like, what are you doing opening the door? Like, it didn't make any sense to me, but then they are actually related. But yeah, no. Lovely wedding. Lovely day. I had a perfect time.
The DJ, what was his name?
I've actually got it here.
Give him a little shout out.
Timmy Potter. I am going to get it though, because I liked it.
I liked him. He was cool, wasn't he? So we had him on the day, and he was sound. And what was so funny was, by the way, if Greg listens, which he probably doesn't.
John Devine, JD's Mobile Disco. Shout out
to you, mate.
You can get him here.
It was so funny. He let on to me. He was like, all right, mate, you're okay.
Can't see that. Yeah, boss.
He let on to me. He was like, all right, mate, you're all right. And he was like, yeah. And we're having this proper chat. And obviously, I'd never met him before. So I was just going along with it. Because, you know, I'm a nice guy. I like speaking to people. So I'm speaking to him. And he goes, you're Greg, aren't you? And I'm like, I'll take it as a compliment. I really do. But I am not Greg. Yeah. I'm the other one.
Yeah. It's either Greg or you, innit?
And to be fair, he went to me, but you have the podcast? And I was like, yeah. Greg was on the podcast, but it's not his podcast. But anyway, yeah, funny story.
Yeah, John Devine, legend.
Yeah,
I'll be in touch as well, by the way. John Devine, you know what I mean?
For your next party.
For my next party, yeah, that's exactly what it was for. It actually makes me sound quite ominous, not what it could be for.
I know.
It's for other that's actually even worse.
That bit's not getting cut out either. I'm leaving
he said that we were a few tickets that he knows certain people to get me into certain things. Let's just round it up like that.
Fucking hell, right?
I know, yeah. Proper dug him out there.
We might have to cut that bit.
Anyway, I had another one. So I actually thought I'd only done one. It turns out I've done like 3.
I thought you had.
So the one after that was Debbie and Paul's. It was at Hard Day's Night Hotel in town.
What day was that on?
It was on the...
Little tester for you there, right?
I've got it in my phone, so it's not really a test. It was on the 5th. It was actually the day after that.
No, I thought it would have been. That's what I felt like.
So boss there, aren't I? Like, this is what I mean. It gets so like difficult to remember where you was when you were there, because you just kind of like a player / manager. You just take every game as a player. So, but because our worlds are so like all over the place in terms of like this is happening, that's happening, that's happening. You just forget when it happened.
How was the day?
It was brilliant.
Was it raining? Because we are getting into like tropical seasons now, aren't we? Where it's starting to rain a little bit more, which is challenging for couples, but also challenging for people who are trying to capture it as well. Was it raining that day?
I don't think it was raining, but at the same time, it wouldn't have mattered if it did or didn't, because Debbie specifically said, I don't want to be walking anywhere around town, can't be bothered with it, can't be asked with all the attention on me and stuff like that. So I didn't even attempt to try and take them out for like couples portraits, really, in that sense. Luckily for me, Hard Day's Night Hotel have a lovely suite upstairs called the Lennon Suite.
There's the piano room.
This is the piano room where Paul was a massive Beatles fan, always has been, specifically John Lennon and Paul. But like, he booked that room because he's a big Beatles fan. And we went up there and we kind of like reenacted some of the moments that he's seen from like popular images of like the Beatles over time. And we got some pictures, like there's nice balconies and stuff like that. So they became their couple shops, which just showing my versatility of not having to look for like a sunset or a whatever picturesque moment or anything like that. You can get them wherever you want.
Lovely jubbly. So you enjoyed that one?
I didn't enjoy doing these cameras all the time, but yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Sorry, Ray.
It's all right.
It's fair, isn't it?
It's only first go.
Yeah, let him off. I had Sarah and Lee's wedding, which was in Middleton Lodge. I just mentioned it briefly. Oh, yeah. But it was a relative. Is it bad to say that? Relative? It was sister of a good friend of ours, Steph. So she basically got us the job, really. So I really appreciate that, Steph.
Shout out, Steph.
And Sarah and Lee, wow, stunning couple, inside and out. Made our job so much easier, really, I think. Just very happy and smiley. And that's it's a bit of advice I'd say to couples, is like, we know being in front of the camera can be awkward and it can be uncomfortable. And for us, we know that and we don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. So our job is to put you at ease.
I love the way you just looked directly at the camera when you said that. It seemed so personal to whoever's watching it.
You. I know what it's like. I'm sat in front of the camera now and it's uncomfortable. Yeah. So we try and make it as fun as possible. But my only advice is, at times when you might not think you're being filmed, just always remember it's your wedding day. That's a good thing. And also, sometimes we can have some serious faces. So just smile, because it makes a nice photo and film, candidly shot. That's my bit of advice for this week. But
Josh's 10 pence there.
My little 10 pence, you're welcome. But yeah, certainly his wedding was gorgeous. And I had to stay over at this one because it was a bit of a drive. So I had to be there early in the morning, which was hard, leaving the fambo behind for the night.
Well, we'll get on to a bit of a drive in a minute. Can I just ask, curiosity, how long was the drive?
He's going to slag me off now, isn't he?
No, I'm not.
2 hours. Just over 2 hours. 2 hours 15. And got to add the 15 on because it makes a difference. 2 hours 15. And the reason why I did
that extra 2 pence petrol.
People might be dramatic about being like, oh, it's 2 hours away. Why are you staying over? It was a 9 a.m. start.
Yeah. No.
So Laura stayed over as well.
That's a big
So
ask.
It wasn't just me being a diva. It was me and Laura together.
Yeah. Was it their suggestion to stay over the night before?
It was. Steph actually said to me, do you want to stay over? Because it makes sense as you will be starting crack of dawn. Which is quite funny, really, because I did Naomi's wedding 2 days later and I had to be up at 7 a.m. to leave for that point to get at her house for 9 a.m. And I must admit, and I'm not trying to say to Naomi I should have stayed over or anything like that, but I felt so much more relaxed going into it, knowing that I've turned up and it was a 5-minute drive from where I'd stayed over. And obviously got to the venue, had a little scope around. For Naomi's wedding, she was getting ready in the house. It didn't make a difference. I didn't have to walk around the grounds and get to take in the sights of the venue. It was more just, you've been driving to the house, you take about 10 to 20 minutes to loosen up, you know what I mean? So, yeah. But yes, their wedding was gorgeous in Middleton Lodge. It's somewhere that I've always wanted to tick off my list. So if anyone's looking for venues that are not near Liverpool or the Northwest, have a little look at Middleton Lodge. It was stunning.
Wait there. Shout out Middleton Lodge. I keep on doing it. I have no idea why I keep on doing it. But I think it's because I'm resting to try.
What's Ryan currently doing for any audio listeners is he's putting his hand over his mouth as a bit of a comfort. He's a dead weight. He's trying to keep himself up. That's what it is.
I didn't switch to you anyway, Jordan. What else?
It doesn't matter though, because I've noticed when I was producing, you can't do it all the time. It makes it uncomfortable to watch.
Speak.
Exactly.
Like, because you're so in...
But you keep doing this, you keep going, and I'm back on. Like, just let it flow, baby.
Flow, bro.
Let it flow.
Are you doing your next wedding or am I doing mine? Mine was a very short one.
Go on, do yours.
So apart from those two that we've spoken to already, another one I had just this weekend, just gone, Latoya and Jed. Can't believe I nearly forgot his name then. I was only there for the ceremony only. I was joined by our mates who's been on here before, Bridal Sky.
Whoop, whoop.
Lovely to see them. We've got a few of their little bits over there.
We have. What was it like working with? What was it like?
You can't see them actually.
What was it like working with Bridal Sky?
Lovely. Obviously, we discussed the last time that we were here that we were going to try and create something where we could work together more frequently, let's just say. Yeah. And I still think that's definitely something that we should do before they get tapped up by someone else.
I know, they seem to be flying at the moment.
For them as well, like...
I think predicted like, bonus already.
Like, well, I do as well. But I think, like you said, like the way you always speak about, it's nice to be able to work with me. You know what I'm like, how I am. You know, we can bounce off each other quite well and stuff like that. They've started to experience that themselves. Now, they haven't said that they've had any like bad horror stories or anything, but they definitely have like their favourite people who they like to like be around.
Name names.
I don't know. I can't tell you off the top of my head. But they were there anyway. We had a lovely time. It was at St. George's Hall, which if you're asking me, and one of my mates asked me this the other week as well, because he's just recently engaged. Shout out Kirkwood and Sophie.
Congratulations.
They were saying to me, like, what is some of the like the better but like more intimate venues that you can use in around the city? And my first port of call is always to think about St. George's Hall, registry office, like
stunning building,
boss place, like amazing place. You've got so many nice bitches there.
Go on.
But then obviously onto somewhere like a Hub Street Hotel or a One Fine Day or a Oh Me or Mine, not to like say that they're the best, but like to name the ones that immediately come to my head. That's like the best transition for me. A few people do that as well, like to go St. George's Hall, then onto like one of those nighttime venues, who I don't actually think are registered for weddings during the day.
I never knew that.
Hope Street obviously is a different story. You can get married at Hope Street
is.
But One Fine Day, I don't think you can actually get married there.
And I don't think I've seen anyone get married at One Fine Oh Me or Mine either.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Oh, and One Fine Day.
And One Fine Day because they're connected, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't think they're registered legally to be able to conduct a marriage ceremony
there.
I
never knew that.
That might be a tip. That might be incorrect. One Fine Day or the owners of both, if you could let us know. But it was unbelievable. I was only with them like, an hour and a half, let's just say 2 hours. But within those 2 hours, I got a real sense of who they were because they just let themselves be themselves.
Yeah.
Toya especially was just like not afraid to just say like what she thought and what she wanted, which was great for me. For obviously, we always say this about we're trying to like find out who our couples are and what they like and dislike. We don't just turn up and just assume that because we've done weddings this way before at this venue that's how you want it. But she was just very like, yeah, I want this, I want this, I want this. I can't be bothered with that. Like, there's no point in wasting any time with that. But was just very like genuine about it. Yeah. And the pictures that I've got them off the back of it because they were just themselves are incredible. I put some of them out on my little stories the other day.
I seen them and they were very, very good.
I know. But that's I know. Like I actually know. The other thing I just wanted to mention.
I haven't done my wedding.
Oh, you doing another one? Sorry, I'll push back to you then. Sorry, I thought you'd done yours. Sorry. Go on.
I had Naomi and Tom, who got married in Penrith. Do you know what was funny? Their church was literally 2 minutes away from Chelsea and Chris's church. Oh. So I actually drove through that part and seen their church and seen the Gregs that we seen. Oh. Shout out Gregs.
Yeah, the Gregs that we seen. I love that day.
Stunning. But yeah, it was lovely in Naomi and Tom's. It rained during as we were coming out of church, but didn't dampen it because when we got to the venue, which was like a 20-minute drive, it went off. But when I'm saying like at the church, it was lashing down and we felt like we'd lost a bit of time doing stuff with the couple and the family portraits. When we got to the venue, it brightened up and we had that opportunity then to capture that. So I always feel like for couples, don't overemphasize if it is raining and put pressure on yourselves because we always find a way throughout the day to, make up time to get them portrait shots in and get them group shots in and stuff. I don't know whether to touch on this because it was really a sensitive subject on the day, but Naomi had lost her brother and her mum got up and did a speech during the church and it was all about that, and it was one of the most... Do you know when you could hear a pin drop in the room?
Like then?
Yeah. It was just stunning. And I'm so glad that I was there to capture it from a film point of view, because everything that she said, and you know what was really even nice about it as well, she was very, very confident when she was delivering this poem/speech. It wasn't just a poem. She ad-libbed, and she was like talking to the whole procession, is it?
Yeah, I call it procession.
And yeah, she's speaking to everybody in that sense. But she was speaking about something that really meant a lot to her and obviously her family. And from an outsider looking in, being privileged enough to capture it from a videographer's point of view, I was thinking, I'm feeling this way watching you do it on the podium. You've got that forever. And even better, your daughter, who's just got married, has got that to relive over and over again in years to come. And I just thought, good on you for getting up and doing it, by the way, to her mum. And also, yeah, it was just stunning. And I felt like I had to mention it because it stuck out to me massively on the day. And also what massively helped is certain churches and certain venues will sometimes employ a tech person to run the mic system and the light system in the venue. And this guy in particular said to me, I know you're going to be micing up the groom, you're going to be micing up the vicar and stuff, priest, but I will send you the audio files from the mics at the podium that they're speaking to.
I tell you what, we've turned a corner there.
So he's
willing to like giving you their audio.
But he actually went out his way and come over to me and said, I know you'll be covering the audio from that point of view, micing people up, but if you want me to, I can send you it direct from the podium.
That's Buster.
I was like,
shout out.
If only every wedding was the same. That's so helpful, isn't it?
I think it is very poignant, and I think sometimes, obviously, from a wedding point of view, it is a very visual day. Obviously, and that's why you get photographers, videographers to come capture it for you. But I think to go much deeper on how much better your end products will be, especially, well, only from a video point of view, really. But if you can get your audio levels and your production levels on your wedding day spot on, like, it will make your day run so much better, smoother, and just more immersive for everyone that's in there. Like the amount of times that we've turned up to venues, Jordan and Abbies, for example, and they had like a tech on who did like the smoke, the sound, the lights, and the way that it actually like transcribed to us as like people onlookers, if you like. It just made their moment so much more specific to them because the lights were just on them.
Yeah.
And I think that will become more and more. It's impressive. It's not more and more of a thing. I think on wedding days to employ a production team as well as like your standard van.
Oh, it's definitely
suppliers.
I would say it's definitely on the up, that side of things, and from my point of view, you can see the difference on the wedding, and I think from your guest point of view, they feel like they've literally stepped into like a movie set, and for the couple, they haven't got to worry about like a dodgy DJ like failing with his like light system. It's a proper production side. Commercial look, isn't it, really, for the wedding day? So it looks great. We're rocking and rolling, you know.
Are we already on?
Yeah.
Oh, well, welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, how are you, girl?
Feels a bit weird sitting next to you today. I'm like,
I know. It just seems. I don't normally sit next to anybody. I've never sat next to him. Never sat next to you. Never sat.
You have sat next to me?
I haven't.
You have. You actually have.
When?
Loads of times. I'm trying to think. We definitely did in the old studio space. I was actually thinking of like.
Are you on you?
No, I'm not on me. I'm not actually putting it on me ever. With a bad angle.
No, you need to tell people what you're doing.
Oh right, okay.
So just you can put it on me if you want.
No, it's on me.
Just for now. All right. But I was just going to say, obviously, Matty isn't here this week, so our Josh has stepped in. Usually it's Beth, but obviously Beth's on maternity leave. So
Beth's got to juggle the baby who's down here.
Yeah, the baby
in the car seat, not on the floor. He's in the car
take two. He's here again. But Josh has taken over the reins on the production side of things.
So you know.
So when we're talking and it's not looking at us, that's why.
Yeah, I know it is. Honestly, I already feel the pressure. I was actually speaking to Beth about this the other day, about the overlap. Have you ever seen it?
I've seen the overlap.
The way it starts very much like people coming in, sitting down, having a coffee and stuff like that. But there's one thing you're probably missing.
Coffee.
Well, no, I was actually going to say who's sat in the room with us.
Well, I was getting to that.
we have a
not
missed.
making noise. I'm like,
I have just put the camera on you just to.
Well, for people would probably recognise her voice by now, and you've definitely heard us mention it a number of times. She has already been on this once before, so it's like comeback season.
it's me redemption.
Yeah. our Abs is over there, or Hanlon, as we once upon a time named her.
Everyone calls me Hanlon, you know.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think they just see Hanlon and they've probably only ever heard Hanlon, so they just assume, yeah. I've seen it on like suppliers sheets as well, like when I get there it's like Abbie Hanlon, I'm like, oh.
Okay. You've just assumed that new identity now anyway.
I should rebrand maybe.
I love that.
Yeah, but that's a bit, well, I mean, not really like us, but people call us memory box.
Yeah,
Don't they?
yeah,
Like,
they do, yeah. And I get all kinds of stuff.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll is definitely one. Roland, as in like, as if I was some sort of posh aristocrat. Roland,
Where
I get
did
that.
actually Roland Stop come from then?
Well, it's a long story.
Have you ever-
Go on, right.
It's
this
not-
is
Have you ever
this is your
discussed
moment.
It's not about us today. Roland Stop.
but you-
In
Oh yeah, look, you have to give him an inch, and he's like,
That's what you asked.
Well.
So it was a very brief time. So originally, before I had like any brands whatsoever, I had this idea of making a mobile photography studio. And once upon a time, I did actually have a horse box converted into a mobile studio with the idea to pull up to events and do things with the idea of roll and stop photography shop. That's where that came in.
Nice.
The funniest part about it is that was never ever used, not even one time, as its intended thing. But the process of putting it together and the like discipline that I had to show to establish that brand made this brand off the back of it.
Yeah.
So it was like a byproduct.
Yeah.
That's the short answer.
But
that was
the-
very short for Ryan.
And I was surprised
He was
myself.
as well,
I was
thinking, oh, here
surprised
we go.
myself.
I have always wanted, to be honest. But
I was actually going to say, we probably used it more than yourself for the drive-in cinema.
Yeah, you probably did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously when we were in lockdown, they had the drive-in cinema, you knew that, didn't you?
no, I don't think so.
Abbie,
Coming out today.
Abbie, we
Here's
are...
the short story, because
Go
we'll
on.
just go on forever, is in lockdown, obviously there's no wedding, so no
know.
work. So we managed to get on holiday when the Turkey was not on the red list.
Yeah.
And while we were there, we were like, what are we going to do? Like, we don't know how long this is going to last. So we were like, why don't we do a drive-in cinema? Josh's dad owns a car park. So we had the land there.
Shout
and
out, Paul.
We literally,
Businessman's never turn off.
we literally put it together within a few weeks and done like Halloween, but we had to keep, we done Halloween events and Christmas events
Yeah.
and sold out every weekend, but we had to keep putting it on, taking it off, because the rules are changing all the time. But
COVID
it was
restrictions.
amazing. But we used the shoebox, horse box.
The shoe
The
box.
shoe box. A little bit more than that,
Is there-
Wipe your feet on it. What did you use it as? Or did you even use it at all?
So, I'll answer this.
True story.
We actually initially stored it for where we wanted the projector to be.
Okay.
So we were basically shooting from the
It was
horse
going,
box.
the projector
You were
was going
going
to
to be
sit
inside
inside
it.
the
Right,
horse
okay,
box.
yeah.
And then eventually it just wasn't going to work because it was in the way of obviously cars parking up and watching the screen. So then we had it behind the screen storing the box we actually used to put the projector in. So it was a storage unit, really.
That's all it was for me in the end as well, to be fair.
What's going on with it now?
I don't know where it is. So Becky's cousin Joe. Shout out Joe Clark.
I need to find the sad music we did.
I
Sad
can do
music.
this right now.
I need sad music.
I sold it to Becky's
okay.
cousin Joe because he wanted to make like a champagne bar out of it. And he took it off me, painted it completely black. So you won't know this either, but I had a artist from Liverpool, Jazz Stan, who's a really well-known artist. Look her up. Shout out Jazz Stan. She hand-painted the whole thing with like Liverpool scenery, seaside scenery, like mountain range. It was lovely to look at. And Joe just painted it all black. But the funniest part about it is he never actually gave me the money because it was in lockdown, the transition. He went, when everything comes back, I'll give you the dough. And he's never ever
been
given
as
it.
a-
So, I mean,
Is this
Joe,
you
we are
wanted?
looking down the lens at you, mate. You've got an outstanding invoice, mate. It's coming for you.
Roland Stop's not completely wasted because
no, well,
it's evolved into
that's what I mean. So I did it with, that was the intention of it being a thing.
Yeah.
And as a byproduct, it's created this. So I can't complain, do you know what I mean?
I think as well, like now it's so hard, must be so hard to think of business names that are like
Impossible.
original
Yeah.
or different.
I was
like,
just being called my own name and it was crap.
it is. To be fair though, I do
agree.
like it when people are called their own name, but then I like it when what you guys do really well is that you go under a business name, but then you've got the personal element, like in your bio, you've got Beth and Josh, and then you've got your photo like pinned. Like I love that element where probably talked about it before, but you can associate the person's name with their business. Like you were saying, oh, when we go to weddings, we just get memory box. But like, I feel like people should know that you're...
Yeah, or
your
they're like,
job,
oh,
you
is,
know what I
is the
mean?
video guys?
Yeah, like...
Everyone always says to me, Beth and Josh.
I'm terrible with names, but I do think as from a consumer point of view as well, like for your potential clients or whatever, like I always say, I think you should put a face to the business, and if you've got a logo, you should have, so people know who they're talking to, who they're like investing in, basically, because it is an investment.
If people buy people, don't
How's
they?
that?
That's the thing.
I don't know whether we've touched on this before, but I am big on like getting people, not like you don't have to put all your personal life on the platform, but just little insights to like
Show you know.
I think it's so, and I keep
Little
saying to
family
Josh,
bits,
like, we really need to do it more, but like, it's just another job in itself, but I'm going to try.
We spoke about this last week, didn't
Yeah.
we? Last week's one.
One for the drawing board, I think. But I was actually going to say about the image being like your front profile image on Instagram with the whole thing. That's
Mine's recently been changed.
Well, I was going to say, you've only just recently changed yours because of obviously the whole verifying thing.
Yeah.
Are you verified?
No.
No. Do you want to be verified?
Well,
Not do you want to, because obviously
for the
you're paying for
security
it.
side of it, yeah, like I'm constantly getting sent like horror stories and like God forbid anything ever happened, but I'm constantly getting sent things like, oh, like by my friends, like, oh God, you should make sure you do this, make sure you do that. And to be honest, I don't actually know what I would do if anything ever happened to my
That's
my
what I mean.
Instagram.
I was actually going to say, it's so common in our industry now to be verified. Like, I feel like you're not...
Do you think it's like adds like a status thing? Like, do you think people are more inclined to like go book someone because they're verified?
No,
You think that sometimes?
Well, no,
Not
I was...
anymore, I don't
We've had this call because I'm not verified, and Josh always says, "Oh no, you have to be," and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people mention things like the security aspect, but we only have to look at another previous guest of ours here, by Beth, and she was verified and still got a contact.
And it's still, you're still at risk. I know, it's just hard, isn't it? And I don't think you can have as many backups in place. Like, I find the same with like my diary, for example. Like, my nerves go about double booking, like all things like that. So I've literally got a paper diary, an Excel spreadsheet, I've got Apple Calendar, just because I just think, what would I do if I lost access to my Apple or whatever?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, with your account, like, how do you even have a backup? Like, what do you do?
You don't, do you?
You do?
No. I don't know, from a business point of view, I know I'm just going back to that point when you said, do you think people will book you on the back of it? I think we put a little poll out asking people. Because I think from my point of view, you know, when it was coming up to Best Birthday, I used like independent businesses through social media that weren't verified, and that did not sway me. I wasn't looking at their account going, oh, they're not verified, so I'm not going to book them.
What do you look for though, like as a consumer? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Like, say you're getting bits for Beth, so like you're like the tables have turned, now you're the person booking in a service. So what do you look for on that? Like, is it like the followers? Like, how many? Have they got any reviews? Like, what do you look at from that type of thing?
I'm actually glad that I'm glad you said this, because I feel like looking back now at the time, it was subconsciously booking it or whatever I was choosing to do. I'm not going to go into it.
But
Police, for example, like someone to
yeah. So it was, let's say it was that.
Yeah.
It was, I'd say, a factor of a few things. I think followers probably did play a part in it. I'm totally honest with you. Because you think, oh, they must be good because they've got loads of followers.
Yeah.
Also, I would say the work was consistent, so there was constantly something on the story.
Yeah.
And they were constantly, basically active. And then
I always look at the dates of when the like last posts were.
And the
Yeah.
same,
But it's mad, isn't it? Because obviously I'm thinking about when I look for people, but I'm not thinking about it from our business point of view.
And then also, like, say you sent them that initial inquiry, like, looking for balloons, whatever, when would you expect to receive a reply? Like, when would you be like, oh,
right away?
I was going to say, yeah, I was actually, it's funny you say that, because now it's actually made me reflect on
it's like sinking in, isn't it? Like, oh, well, what would I want?
We don't reply straight away.
It doesn't have to be like film, like it could be anything. Like, I know when we're probably touching it, but when I've been doing a lot of the wedding planning for people and I'm messaging or emailing other suppliers, the most frustrating part about it is waiting for people to get
back to you.
I feel like I'm like,
you're chasing the car.
I'm on like an instant answer, but I know when I'm replying to people, it's not realistic.
Yeah.
So I just don't know like what people's expectations
But
are.
I think people do expect like instant, and obviously
Yeah.
sometimes it's not doable.
It's-
But like I know myself, when I've inquired about things and not got an instant reply, I'm gone and looked elsewhere.
Yeah, and then someone's got back to you faster.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for us because obviously our weekends are normally the busiest time.
Yeah.
So if I get an inquiry at the weekend, to get back to that person, I want to be sat down with my laptop. I want to be looking at their venue, like seeing the logistics of their venue before I reply, see how far away it is, do I need to add travel time
Yeah.
or costs on. So I want to give them my full attention when I'm replying. So I don't have time to do that at the weekend, but I think as long as I've checked in with them and said, thank you so much for your message, like I really want to give this all my attention, it's my busiest time at the moment, can I get back to you on Monday? I feel like people do appreciate that.
I think they do, because
Like a
you've
little
given them the
check-in.
heads
Give
up
them
now.
something, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what else I always feel paranoid about is like posting on my story that I'm at like
A restaurant, yeah,
a
yeah.
restaurant, and people are like, oh my god, like she's doing this but she's not got back to my message and stuff. I get a bit paranoid about that.
Yeah,
as well, but-
I must admit, for us, obviously we're in the middle of coming out of a full-time like wedding, full on a wedding
Full
season
on,
while
yeah.
having a baby,
And a family,
and
and-
yeah, and then we've got like the editing side of things from like a film and photo point of view. You feel like if you post anything on social media,
Anything
people
that's not editing.
and yeah, if it's basically not editing, people are like, why aren't they editing?
Yeah.
So that's my only like anxiety that I get from
what
that
I
sort of
feel.
thing.
It's like, it's a bit of paranoia. I'm like, I constantly feel like people are judging or whatever. And I know that they're probably not. And I don't feel like that when I look at other people's things if someone hasn't got back to me. But yeah, I think there's a happy medium between like just touching base with someone and saying thank you so much.
Do you know what's funny, right? While we're sat here talking about it, I was like, for anyone who hasn't already listened to Abbie's first podcast, she is a singer.
I know.
People are probably thinking,
Well, I was going to say, we need to do like a little bit of a roundup of, obviously,
Yeah.
people know Abbie probably by now, like I mentioned, but if you haven't, obviously she
Dive
has
straight
been here
in.
before. But I was going to say, because we just went right in, didn't we?
Yeah, but guys, like we're business people.
Yeah,
No,
Guys,
no.
like,
time is money, money's time, isn't it? So
it doesn't. I know, like you would not think I was a singer. I could probably have been any sort of supplier from what we've just been talking about, but
you're not just a singer though, are you? You've
I'm
got
not just a singer. Yeah, so I've branched out, guys. I'm in coordination and
how is that going?
it's going well. You know, I'm just trying to find my feet, guys, because
Yeah.
like it's a big job.
It's very time consuming, I would imagine.
Very time consuming. So at the moment, like, obviously I've got an idea of how long things take and stuff. But yeah, so I've sort of soft launched in January, and I've been doing like friends, family, like past clients.
Sorry about that, Jonah's just making an appearance. Oh, come on, Jonah. Sorry about that, Ab.
No, it's fine. So yeah, I've sort of been like, it's a bit not trial and error because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, well, how much time is this taking me, and then trying to convert that into pricing and things like that. So it's very bespoke, is what I found.
I was going to say, I know you're not meant to really say this, which is being really open and honest
Yeah.
when you're starting a business, but is there anybody else out there that you've sort of used as a bit of like, that's where the ceiling is? Not the ceiling, so that's where I need to be in
Where
like,
I would
like the
like
goal
to
basically.
be. Yeah, I mean, there's people who aren't. I don't really know if that many Liverpool-based.
So you're going off like people who are far and wide, basically.
There's a lot of many people do it abroad. There's like people from Britain who go to Italy to do it because they just know that
The work's there.
the work's there and you can live in this climate and whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, so I mean, I've took inspiration from other people and been like, this is the level I would like to be at.
Aspire.
Yeah.
Do you know, so I just had to make sure that because I didn't want to pronounce her name correctly, Stacey Cox Weddings and Events.
Yes.
So this girl.
Yes, has she rebranded?
Yes, so she was
Navy Tuck.
Navy Tuck's
Yes,
Events.
yeah.
And she's recently rebranded, but I actually did an event with her not too long ago.
Yeah, and so a question on
But she's, as far as I know, she's the only one.
Yeah, this is what I mean. So I definitely feel like there's a little bit of a gap, to be honest, with that type of service. But I did have on my notes to ask you guys.
Dun dun dun.
What do you feel about when you work with wedding coordinators? Like, how do they like affect your day in like a good way or a bad way? And like,
Bit of both.
have you worked with many freelance, and how did it go? Do you know what I mean?
You looking at?
I was looking at Ryan because haven't you just worked with one recently?
Yes. So I worked with our mate from Unfiltered Bride. Why can't I think?
I know. I went a bit foggy then, to be totally honest with
Unfiltered
you.
Bride, yeah.
They're getting loads of mentions on this
George,
podcast
I know.
lately.
Now you'd think they'd like cold brands or something. Georgie, yeah. So I worked with her. She's like probably a high profile.
Yeah.
Did you say?
Like high end.
Yeah, high end. Like she does them all over the show and stuff like that. She was great.
Yeah.
She was really good because she knew that was her job to be organised, to be there on time, to make sure things were happening when they were supposed to be happening, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think if you get someone who's like yourself, who's like specific job it is to be there, and like they've done it out of their love and the passion to do that.
Yeah.
They're
Not
the
just 'cause
great.
They work at the venue.
They're the greatest ones. So this is the changeover.
Yeah.
When you go to a venue, sometimes say like any of the venues. I was just gonna say that such a place.
I was actually going to be honest with you and say the ones that and this is I'm going a bit aim thingy me lately, Annie. Cancel culture.
yeah.
I keep saying things a little bit rogue. Yeah, I feel like I don't want to get cancelled for this, but I feel like sometimes hotels coordinators can be the least. Could be a quick turnaround. That makes sense. So like
not all the time.
Not all the time.
Because there is specific examples of people which I can reel off.
You can say the Titanic, the
really,
Park Hotel.
really
they're like ones who we think are great.
Yeah.
Great at it. But there's hotels over the times that we've been in the industry for when you've went to a hotel and you've been like, you had it this year? Are we getting you cancelled here?
It wasn't that they were bad. Yeah. You know, this is the hard part as well.
Get your shovel away.
No, this is true. This is true.
Backtracking.
I think what it is when you go to somewhere and the coordinator is brilliant, you just remember them for being brilliant.
Yeah.
And they're so good that when you go somewhere else and someone's just doing the job as they should do, it's not as good. It makes it feel bad.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So like they're not actually doing anything wrong. They're just not doing it as well as somebody else might have.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
I agree. And I feel like part of the reason...
I was going to go then. Say the honest version.
That is the genuine truthful version.
I know.
There has been only a handful of times where I've thought, wow, you're absolutely crap at this. Like,
I think it's
like
when
where I've felt like I've been the coordinator. That's happened.
That's where it's
come
from me.
I know we're all trying to get our points across, but I was actually going to say, what is the actual role of a coordinator on the day?
So I'll just like backtrack a little bit to like why I thought there was a gap for someone like me on the day is that you know yourself as a supplier, when there is little to no coordination from the venue, you guys coordinate the day. So like photo and video get together and be like, okay, well, what are we going to do now? Let's do the first dance now. Let's do this now. You know, you as suppliers are also doubling up as coordinators, whether you realise it or not.
You've got to be a runaround.
And you've got to step in, you know, and loads of times I'll turn up to a job and be like, okay, where would you like me to set up? You know, what time? And they're like, don't know. You've got to work it out for yourself. So that's sort of where I found that I would be able to have a good, like, be good at it because I've done it basically at so many weddings myself.
So you've had like the experience before even looking for the experience sort of thing.
So then also what I noticed was with venues with coordination and quite decent coordination is no matter how good they are, at the end of the day, they're there for the venue.
I was genuinely going to say the same.
So even though they're concentrating on the order of the day, like the timings and whatnot, they've got like the bar to be overseeing, the food service to be overseeing, you know, other things like that. Whereas where I wanted to help was more for like the couple. So I wanted to be there for their needs. Like I'm big on like checking in with the bride in the mornings, like making sure like what are you worried about? What needs to be done? What can I do? Like, you know, buttonholes, for example. Like you talked about like mum of the bride. Like I don't want them to have to think about it. Like I would be there. And you know, it's just that reassurance and that peace of mind that things are
getting done.
Are getting done.
Yeah.
So that's where I know people might be like, well, my venue's got a coordinator. It's like, okay, I understand that, but I would be there for you.
Yeah.
I'll literally, like, I did one at Hope Street a couple of months ago, and
they've got a team, haven't they? You run
they've
it there.
got a really good team. But for example, I was out with the bride and groom for their photos around town, and I was like getting the dress, like I was assisting the photographer. I was there for like the bride.
That does not happen. No,
it's rare,
like,
isn't it?
Abbie, can you go to the room and get my lip gloss? You know what I mean? It's like little things like that where it's where I'm on hand, and everyone else, bridesmaids, they can just enjoy their day.
But that's the thing. Sometimes people think, oh, my bridesmaids can just do that. But like, 9 times out of 10,
they
like,
want to enjoy it as well,
they won't, because
And
obviously,
also-
like I say, they want to enjoy themselves.
Yeah, and also they might not have ever even been to a wedding.
Yeah.
So they don't know how it works.
And I'd expect them to run round after you in their dress and their heels, like
Exactly.
chasing you round the streets.
Chasing you around town or whatever.
Yeah.
So
She can't run them little high heels.
I think just to like kind of finish on that point is like if you've employed someone to be your coordinator, which is like a personal assistant to you, as much as they're running the day, they are running your life as well at the same time. And I think they've got really good examples. I was just looking then to make sure, but like Lily from Hawkstone Hall.
Yeah.
She is a really good example.
You
of
always
somebody
like going to. She's stood out.
I think she's
she?
one of the best ones, to be fair, because she's got what you've just said there, that perfect balance between looking after the venue from the venue's point of view, but she also feels very personal.
Yeah.
And she's got it just down to a T, to an art. But then for the likes of like Stacey Cox, who was just mentioned there, when I was working with her, I noticed that she was doing all of that type of stuff, but she was very personal as well. She was running to get drinks for people.
Of course.
She was further than the normal coordinator should be in terms of a job role.
I was going to say, just because I don't, from me memory, right, I'm finding it hard to recall working with like a freelance like coordinator.
Yeah.
I was going to say, is their role on the day more like I don't want to offend anybody by saying this, because if they're going to a venue like you've went to recently, Hope Street, where they've already got a team and stuff, does your role become easier on the day?
Not really, because I feel like, so when I went to Hope Street, they've got coordination.
So that's what I mean. So what I'm trying to get at is like, would you, because obviously this is the whole debate about,
Would you coordinate with the coordinator?
Yeah, so when I turned up, I don't think that they knew that I was coming. So I was like, hi, like, Abbie, like, I own co, Holly's, got me here to give her some help today. Like, I'm going to just, like, see if anyone needs anything, basically. So but because as soon as I got there, I could tell she didn't know that I was coming. And then I was like, I don't want to step on your toes, sort of thing. So when I could tell from her reaction that she didn't really, it wasn't a bad reaction, but I could just tell she wasn't expecting me to be there. So I instantly like changed the route of the conversation. I was like, whatever you need from me, like I can help you guys, like whatever you need. And then I was sort of like, oh, like they've got quite a good team. Like I wonder what I'll be doing. But honestly, I did not sit down. Like there was
there's always something to do, isn't there?
Every minute of the day, like. And I'm very like attention to detail, so, and this is also why I wanted to get into it, because when I'm at a wedding as a singer, I notice everything. So I'm like, oh my god, like there's the bags from the confetti like all over the floor, like it's just not going to
like
look
some
great
candles
in the pictures,
blew out
and the venues aren't picking up on it. So on Holly's wedding, I was literally like, I was collecting glasses, I was picking up the rubbish, and I know that that's the venue's job, but it wasn't. Things are getting missed because they're so busy.
Yeah.
So yeah, just overseeing everything and the attention to all the small.
I'll tell you what I noticed. Sorry, just to like put in there. But what I noticed, especially with the last one that Georgie was at from Montefiore the Bride, she came in, and I think some venues would love it, like a Hope Street or whatever. I think they're a decent team.
Yeah.
They're a young team as well, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And they're very adaptive, and they'll probably be welcoming that type of help.
Course, yeah,
and you've probably felt that from them.
Yeah.
But I think some of these venues, I'm not naming which ones, but like what I definitely seen from that one is that they had, or the venue had, their way of coordinating the day, and it went a certain way to their times, their way, their hat. And then when Georgie came in, I didn't notice necessarily a friction, but I do feel like the venue themselves got a bit like, who's this coming in to try and tell us what to do in our own venue? And there was a slight friction, but then I think by the end of it, the venue are probably just happy to like offload some of the more personal
course,
touches
yeah. I mean,
and just look after the event.
It's never going to be a bad thing. Like, look, I don't want to be going in and changing the order of the day or saying like, well, you've got this time. I think it should be this.
Ceremony's at 3 now, guys.
Yeah, like change everything. But it's just, it can never be a negative. Like, it's an extra pair of eyes. It's an extra hand of support. And from a bride's perspective and you know, the couple's perspective, like that, obviously I help with the planning before the wedding, but I think that on the day coordination is the most valuable service that I offer.
On the day, definitely.
Massively.
And so many of my my previous couples, when I announced that I was going to be doing it, they messaged me and they're like, oh my God, I wish you did this when I got married. And it's always like a hindsight, I've probably said this before, it's always a hindsight thing, like, oh, I should have got someone, I was too stressed, I couldn't relax, you know. People were constantly coming up to me, asking me questions, and I was mithered. So I'm trying to get the thing out there of like, don't let it get to that point and then it be a regret.
I must admit, I went through a recent experience. Not going to go on to what it was, but the coordination on the day was just non-existent.
Yeah.
To the point where I think the food service ran over by like an hour, and not down to like speeches or anything like that. And I feel like that's so unfair.
Yeah.
On the couple, because they're the ones who are suffering off the back of it. Then they're missing out on drinks reception and stuff.
They're having to go and approach the staff and stuff, and it's like, that's not the type of thing that you want to be doing in a wedding dress.
Well,
like,
I was going to say, what happened on the day was, I feel like I'm going to cut my foot in
I don't think we're going to get through this without upsetting someone.
Basically, there was just a changeover
from
the day coordination to the nighttime coordination, but very early.
You know what I think though, and I don't think it happens at all really, or a little. I think when people book a venue and they're like inquiring with the coordinator, back and forth with the coordinator through the whole wedding process, and then on the day it's a different coordinator.
Yeah. That is weird.
I would be very disheartened by that, because you've built up a rapport with a specific coordinator, and then on the day you're like, oh, who are you? Like, I'm your coordinator. You're like, well, do you know what's going on?
Confidence will go, and like, obviously they can reassure you that they've had a handover and stuff, but it's still like, you would still in the back of your mind be like, well, does this person know that we were having this at this point of the day, or we've changed this slightly?
Yeah.
And that is just not, like, the day just goes so quick, I imagine, when you're around like a couple.
Yeah.
So
we don't know what it's like, Abby. We're not married.
I've got a question now.
Yes.
When you finish your point there.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, in your opinion / experience, at what point would you want a couple to be booking you? And there's a reason why I'm asking you this.
For coordination.
I know. Obviously, I feel as though on the last episode we spoke about your singing side, and we will dip in and out of it.
Yeah.
But I think this one, which we spoke about the last time, because you soft launched this year and you've had like a season nearly, to talk about that more and more specifically how to promote that. Yeah. But I noticed that like Stacey Cox, for example, she gets booked before the couple have even booked their venue sometimes.
Yeah, so...
And I think that makes that transition and that connection...
How can that even happen?
Wait for it. So she basically was booked, and this couple said, we want the wedding to feel like this. I mean, that was a vow renewal, the one that I was with her with, but that's what she gets all the time. Someone will go, we want the wedding to be like this. We've got this many guests. We needed to hold this many guests. We want it to look like this. Da, da, da. And she basically sources everything and kind of like offers it on a plate to them.
Yeah.
Which
so
is
even
great.
like suppliers, like photography, videographer.
Well,
That is, like, full
she
planning.
sourced me. I think what she does is say for example, I want to book Abbie for like a wedding next year.
$7,000.
And the rest. Like, I could go to Abbie, right, Abbie, so we're getting married. We want it to be in May. We want a venue that can hold 120 people. We want food, singing, dancing, singing waiters, photographer, possibly video as well. Give us a load of options, what you think?
Yeah.
And Stacey, for example, and probably for yourself, she came back with like, this is the way I see your day being the best.
Yeah.
Based on what your likes are, who you are, what your experiences are like, how you will be, everything.
Yeah.
And from your point of view, that probably makes it easier when you're talking about, you turned up to Hope Street and they were like, didn't know you were coming.
Yeah.
You've had that initial engagement to say, right, I've got a bride and groom, we want to book your venue, potentially. Yeah. My name's Abbie, and I'll be their coordinator on the day, so therefore I'll be turning up on the day.
Yeah.
It softens that whole blow, doesn't it? So in your opinion then, based on that, when would you want to be booked?
It depends what their needs are, basically. So what you're talking about there is like a full planning service. Yeah. So it's literally from the...
Scratch.
Like from engagement probably, and depends what type of couple they are, how organised they are and stuff like that. I mean,
Would
we
you?
talk about it all day.
You have different
Some-
options though, don't you? Is
I've
that
got
one of them?
different not packages. Like I've got different service options. Yeah. So the first one is like the full shebang. Like I can venue view with people. I can suggest a couple of venues. I can go to the venue with them. I think the benefit of that is like I can look at things that they might not think about. So I can ask the questions like, are there any restrictions for music or noise? Like, have you got any rules?
Noise pollution type of thing.
Yeah, like, do you allow outside music? Because a lot of venues don't. So if it's a gorgeous summer's day, everyone's outside on the lawn. You, in your mind, you're like, I'm going to have my singer there, or we're all going to have a cocktail hour.
We're going to have the fire
But the
going and
venue's
all
like,
that.
no, you can't go outside.
Yeah.
So just little things like that. Do they allow real candles? Because for some people that's a deal breaker. Like some people would. I've always had in their mind, I want, natural candle like everywhere. I want scented and you book your venue and then a month before they're like, yeah, no, you can't have real candles.
Yeah.
No light, no smells.
Exactly.
No
So,
noise.
Yeah,
Like, especially like the confetti cannons.
Put your mic a little bit close to you.
Closer, sorry.
Yeah, just lean it.
Hello.
Yeah, a bit closer.
1 2 2 2 2 1 2.
So if just put both earphones, you sound a bit echoey, but it's fine.
Okay, perfect.
We'll solve it.
Yeah, so that initial help is just it is worth it for like an experienced person to be asking the types of questions that you wouldn't think of. And then again, like I feel like it's beneficial for the couple to have someone who's got really trusted connections, so like can suggest really well established suppliers.
Us.
Yeah, exactly. So straight away I've eliminated them having to message 10 photographers, get 10 quotes, find out the hard way if they're reliable or not. So yeah, so from the very beginning is worth it. Then I've got like partial planning, so you might have got halfway through and thought, do you know what, I'm too busy for this. Yeah. It's taken up too much of my time. It's taken up too much of my time, so then they would hand over to me and tell me who they've already booked, where they're up to, what they want next, sort of thing. Then I've got on the day coordination, and I do half day or full day. So the half day is bridal prep until wedding breakfast. So that's called Stand By Me.
Any reason for it? Because of the song? Or is it because you're
Why is it
standing
called
by
that?
you're standing by them all day?
Well, it's basically
Bit of
both,
both.
and it's a song.
Oh, nice.
Because
I
I'm
like
a
that.
singer, And then I've got full day, which is from bridal prep in the morning up until first dance, or I can stay longer if they've got anything going on after first dance. That
It's a
needs
little bit
to
like
be
us, that isn't it? That's like
overseen,
our time scale. What do you
What's
call
that one called? Yeah.
Never too much.
That's so
Too
apt.
much.
Yeah.
Isn't that your karaoke song, Biff?
Yeah, too much.
Come on then, let's break.
It's a rendition.
Not now,
Well, guys,
guys.
You will sing today, I'm telling you.
It's tricky because they don't all fit into like a box. Like there's some bespoke element about it all because everyone's different. So yeah, I like to try and cover all bases, but at the end of the day, it's quite bespoke. It's on a personal level.
I think for the couple, I think if they want you as the coordinator, I think as soon as they've secured the date, they should really
I
inquire
think
with you
so.
whatever package service that they want to go for, because
Yeah.
obviously you sing as well. You have other things going on,
Of
so it's like if they want
course.
you, they should just secure you as
They
soon
should.
as possible.
It's like
You're a
any
very busy
supplier.
gal.
It's like securing any supplier.
Yeah.
We know what it's like. You hate sending out the message where you've already got,
Yeah.
or they've inquired and they've not got back for a while and
Lose a
whatever.
date.
So yeah, the sooner the better with everything.
Yeah.
I feel like the last thing you want to be is disappointed.
Last thing on this before we have a little break. My question is it expensive?
This is where I
Planning sort of.
Well, you know me, I'm always looking.
This is where there's a bit of like controversy because it sounds really bougie and you're like, oh, contact my wedding planner, like contact my coordinator, my assistant, or whatever you want to call it. But I'm really trying to get it so it's accessible for anyone really, based on what their budget is for the day.
So basically, just bougie weddings only, really.
Well, it's hard really, but I just think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
imagine the stress before and the stress on the day, like to have that, like
We've witnessed it
relief.
loads, all of us in the stream. We've all witnessed it, and we know how difficult it is
There's
on the day
such a
at
big
times.
build up, and the day goes so quick. Like the last thing you want to do is like be like, oh my god, I wish I would have had more time to speak to this person. You know, I feel like if there's some relief from the stress, I just think it's worth it.
No.
No, I agree. I really do agree.
Obviously, we know you, so we just
Yeah.
started talking and got carried away, finding out more about your event organising side of things. But how has your wedding season been so far this year?
It's been good, guys. It's been a whirlwind. Busy.
And Abbie, say it like you mean it.
No, it's been gorgeous. Honestly, the people that I've met just blow you away, don't they? Sometimes, like that
Yeah.
sounds a bit cheesy, but honestly, like I think you forget how genuine people are and can be. And I know, like, you don't want to, if it's the first time you've met someone, it's a wedding day and it's everything's going on, but so many people have took the time to like speak to me, you know, like
In the build up and
thank
stuff.
me,
Yeah.
everything, like on the like we said you were talking last week about like the meals and stuff, but
Yeah.
people have gone above and beyond for me, and I think the times now are going more towards like people are appreciating the suppliers
Definitely.
more. Like,
I keep noticing that you keep getting like bundles of gifts.
I know,
So I'm
yeah.
thinking like, what's going on?
I know, I was going to say that. What's going on?
I know.
What can I do differently?
You're normally like hinting at everyone, Ryan, before you turn
Well,
up.
the start of the year, I had to.
see now people are doing like little supplier goodie bags.
I've had a few of them.
Yeah,
I've
I
had a
just
few of them.
think that is just so, because you do put so much work in to these days. Like there's loads of prep from my side. There's loads of prep, like big build up, loads of pressure on the day, and I think just the fact that someone's appreciated that and
Thinking
thought
about
about
you.
you,
Yeah.
like
Little bag with your name on.
it's so enjoyable. It
I
just
love it.
makes the
Goes
day.
a
As
long
soon
way.
as I pick that little, I see all the other stuff in it. As soon as I pick that card out and it says thanks, I just think, it's on.
Ryan's like a
Tears.
kid on Christmas morning. He
Honest
starts
to God,
looking.
they've got me. They've got me. From
No,
that
he starts looking for the money.
Yeah,
Where's the check?
tip it upside down.
Chef, he's showing your age there.
I know, yeah. I don't know where the check came from, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's been gorgeous. But yeah, without being cheesy, it has been the people and even the guests. Everyone's friends and family have been so lovely and like complimentary, and it's hard sometimes when you're a singer because sometimes you're like background music or like you're entertaining, but the amount of people that come over and are like
Yeah.
just want to say like really enjoying the music and stuff, I feel like I find that more often these days, like people are complimentary and appreciative.
I think I've just thought about it then in my mind, like the secondary thank yous are always rewarding. Like
Yeah.
you've just said there, after events, certainly for us anyway, probably the same for you.
Get a
It's
message.
not necessarily like the bride and groom or bride and bridegroom or groom, whatever it might be, going, oh, really, thank you so much. Because not that you'd expect it from them, but they are your port of call.
Yeah,
they are
of
for.
course.
But when people say, oh, me dad was talking about you, and
Commented,
like
yeah.
all my cousins were all saying like they were made up the way you sang this song
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
I think that goes a little bit further because you didn't expect them to say thanks.
No.
And when they do, it's like, oh, hello.
Yeah, it's like a little pat on the back.
Thank you very much for
I
that.
think as well, like when I've done like baby showers and stuff like that, sometimes I've had like,
Be careful what you say. You did ours, all right.
why?
That's this really bad one.
So I'm on the height track now.
Yeah, well, I was speaking about gifts, obviously on my baby shower, which Josh gate crashed. Listen, on our baby shower, obviously Abbie come and sang, which unfortunately you couldn't attend because she was on holiday.
You rat.
Terrible,
And
that,
she
you know.
turned up, I don't know if you know this, but she turned up with a big massive bunch of flowers.
That's how thoughtful
And
she is.
that's how lovely Abbie is.
They were
You've
from
just put that on. She's got to
Hartley's.
turn up at every event now with a bunch of black.
Shout out Hartley's, my best friend. She's got a
Oh, so you got them for free?
And actually, it's just
Love it.
that
Collaboration.
It's the thought that counts.
Defo,
they've got a God centre and they do weddings, guys. So if anyone's looking for
Oh,
wedding
nice.
florists,
Shout out Hartley's there.
they'll be
Oh, yeah,
sending
right.
away
Go on,
there.
do it officially. On the lint.
Shout out Hartley's.
Hey.
I was so embarrassed because I didn't know that you knew that you were having a boy. So I was like pink
What?
and blue.
Have you had a boy? Hey.
I was like
Yeah.
pink and blue, like
know.
gender
They were
neutral.
gorgeous.
And then I got there and everything was blue and I was like, oh no.
But they was-
We
you know-
didn't put it up anyway. We knew, obviously, and we told like family and stuff, but
yeah.
we didn't put it out
Yeah,
anyway.
so cute.
But yeah, they were absolutely gorgeous. So thanks again.
Aw, you're welcome. But yeah, it's what were we even saying there? Oh, so like if we do a baby shower, sometimes like someone who was a guest there will message me and be like, you did my friend's baby shower, like just want to say like how enjoyable you were. Like whenever I have a baby, like we'll book you for ours, or same at the wedding. So yeah, I've really enjoyed wedding season, and my faith is restored in people because I've had some really, really.
No, you do. It's
lovely
true though, isn't it?
couples.
Like, and we've spoke about this sometimes, and this is not digging out any particular people in specific.
Yeah.
But like, when someone or a couple is like ultra nice to you,
Yeah.
and you just wish that was every single week.
Of course, yeah.
And then sometimes you'd have the other ones where people, and rightly so, see you as like a part of the staff of their day.
of course.
That's fine as well.
Yeah.
A
A lot of people do keep themselves to themselves as
Yeah,
well.
that's what I mean. And that's not,
Yeah.
it's not our fault or their fault. It's just how it is.
And I think if you're not really like familiar with the wedding industry and how suppliers work and how hard they work as well, I think, you know, people don't think, because they've got so much on to think about with their wedding, they're not thinking about going above and beyond for the suppliers, because they're probably thinking, well, you know,
You've been
that's their
paid.
job. But it's when people do it. Yeah.
Let's say it how it
You
is.
imagine.
I was actually going to ask, because I've noticed it in recent times with performers, people who sing at weddings and stuff.
Yeah.
They obviously do more than just one job on the day.
Yeah.
Now, is this something that you do?
What do you mean, like more than one part
why-
of the day, or
So, no, so obviously that's, I know a lot of singers.
MCing?
So if you sang at a baby shower in the afternoon, would you
Yeah.
then go and sing at a wedding in
Yeah,
the night?
yeah.
So if you've got a wedding, that'll be their only job that day,
Because, all right, so
because they can run over.
this is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So it's a good, again, I feel like I'm going to get cancelled. 'Cause I know,
Recently.
yeah. I feel like recently I've noticed a lot of suppliers who are obviously performers
Yeah.
will have more than one wedding, let's say, on one day,
Yeah.
which I understand. If you're doing a ceremony at 2 and then you're doing a first dance at 7 in a different place, you should be able to manage that,
Yeah.
that running over type of thing. But
Yeah.
I've noticed it where it's getting a little bit close for call. So
Yeah.
how would you feel about doing 2 on one day?
I, with other events, probably would, or say, you know, because say you were going to do like a birthday event in the evening and you've got a start time. Normally they are a little bit flexible, like I like to be punctual, but you know, it's not like you're going to miss the wedding ceremony sort of thing. With weddings, I would really only do one in a day.
Yeah.
I just want to dedicate like my attention and my time to that.
Good answer.
Well, I do though, because
You
and
turn
also
up, you're
from
onto
a
that.
client point of view, if
Go on, sorry.
I'm just going to say, like, if they know that I've tootled off to do someone else's, I might be a bit like, oh, like, I don't know.
They're
Singing
using
our
it.
wedding song twice.
Yeah.
No, I get
Yeah.
that. I get that.
I was going to say like about the you draining your vocal cords.
Oh
on
yeah, that's the
someone
thing as
else's
well.
big
Yeah,
day.
like I don't like to cram everything in.
Yeah. And as I say, you do turn up with like a bit of an entourage as well, don't you? So, you know, like...
Yeah, with my assistant.
Shout out Lloyd.
Shout out Lloyd, shout out your
And
dad.
Ian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give your dad a mention.
That's another thing I don't think people realise. A lot of people just think, you know...
You turn up and it's just
you
all
just
set
turn
up, yeah.
It's all done.
Yeah.
There's no prep. There's no pre-thing. Yeah, so obviously I have my dad that works with me. And he's absolutely essential. Like, I just couldn't do it all on my own. Like, these full days where I've got to break up, put down in different rooms. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, it's not really doable on my own.
Especially when you're in the corner going,
Yeah, warming up. You almost think I'm such a
Me,
diva
me.
because my dad's like, right.
Dad, get that.
Yeah, like, but he doesn't let me. I'm like, that I'll help, and he's like, no, you sit down. Like, I'll do it. But people
we
must
spoke
think
about
I'm
that
a
really
What a
diva.
guy. What a guy.
He's really nice, yeah.
Yeah, but it is essential because also, say if I'm singing during the drinks reception, but then I'm required at the wedding breakfast, which is a consecutive part of the day, it's going to take me half an hour to get me stuff from here to there. So while I'm doing this part of the day, he'll be setting up the other part of the day with my second set of equipment. So I'm just trying to make it seamless. Yeah.
I'm gonna go on to something really off random. It does involve singing though.
Okay, go on.
Me and Beth have been watching The Voice this season.
Oh yeah, oh God, I
Right.
can't bear it.
Are you one of them? You don't like?
Yeah, but we never used to like it.
No,
We're
but I was
show
gonna-
our age, we're obsessed with Strictly as well.
Yeah, I was gonna.
If it's on, I'll watch it. But I just
So the reason why I'm asking is because obviously you've already just given it away. You don't like it. Is that something that you'd ever consider doing, like a TV show?
no, because that's what it is. It's for TV. It's for someone else's benefit. It's not. It's to make to give them telly. They
So
won't show you in any light, I feel, to just be entertainment.
Do you think the people who are going on then are sort of seeking that, like...
No, not really, because I do think it has benefits. Like, gorgeous Holly Ellison, like she did.
Oh, yeah, I
Was
forgot
it
about
X
Holly
Factor
doing
or
it.
The Voice?
No, she's done The Voice.
The Voice.
Yeah.
And that's probably done so well for her as an artist, like for her customer base.
I was going to say, you're working with
she's
people
got
as well
more
along the way, aren't you?
exposure, everything like that. I feel
Well,
like
I
it
noticed now, especially in The Voice, sorry to interrupt us, when they put the person's name on, they have the Instagram page
yes, they
underneath.
do that on MasterChef, which is what I'm watching at the
I
moment.
feel like that's good, because obviously then they're getting more followers.
Amazing. That's great, because that does change things, because it's not
Giving them
just,
insight then, isn't it?
it's giving them the benefits of the exposure, whereas old school X Factor was literally like, we'll put you on if you look like a plonker, we don't care.
Yeah, they were ruthless, weren't they, the X Factor back in the day.
But no, I think
Barker.
go for it if it's something that you want to do. Or you're looking into being like a recording artist or want to take things further. But
So there's my answer anyway, you know. She doesn't like The Voice and she's not going on.
yeah.
No, I know it's a difficult one to answer, because I always feel like when I was growing up, X Factor was such a huge... I know, obviously Gary come on, he was one of our last guests on.
Yeah, Gary as well. It's probably done
Do it again.
amazing.
Can't do it.
Stop it, Gary. I was just going to say, growing
Personal
up, and if you were a performer, it was
Yeah.
like... That was like the pinnacle. That was like, go on the X Factor or you're not a singer,
That's
basically.
it. And I used to get asked all the time. That was the only thing. But I think as well, that's the only thing people really can think of to ask you sometimes. Like, oh, you're amazing. Do you want to go on? Would you go on X Factor?
It's not a shame.
Yeah.
Because, like you just said there, if you didn't go on the X Factor or win the X Factor and become a recording artist, you're not a singer.
Is that
And there's probably
success?
so many people like who've went on there, tried, didn't get through or didn't win or whatever, and he went on to be like, I don't know, an admin assistant, just like really wasting the potential.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but
I
no,
feel like
I
The
think
Voice produces more
definitely
singers.
got benefits. The Voice is more for the singers, I feel like.
I feel like that. I don't watch either, but I mean, I feel like The Voice produces singers.
I was going to say last night when we were watching it, the co-judge who was on with Leanne Rimes was an artist called Griff.
Oh yeah, I love her.
So me and Beth are like, just like, obviously,
that?
who's that? Who's that on the
Love her.
telly?
Yeah,
Who's that?
This is just noise, this.
What's this all
You're
about?
proper grown up. You only had 2 kids.
So I think for us, we were a little bit like, we've never heard this person. So even that as well, to like
Give you an insight.
the elder
into
generation.
it. Yeah.
Me and Beth.
Fuck am I?
Have you ever heard of Griff?
No.
See? So
He's so good.
So I think the cool kids like Abbie know who I'm on about, where I haven't got a clue.
But it's like the radio. I don't listen to the radio.
I don't listen to radio. I hate the radio.
Do you? It's like
I most of the time listen to nothing before I listen to the radio.
My God, I have. I think someone else posted about this. Might have been Lee Morrison on the way back from a gig. Silence in the car. Like,
Really?
I just when there's been like loud music and stuff, I need like silence just to like process.
Just the tyres hitting the pavement.
Yeah,
That's all you're listening to.
It's,
Flies in the window.
overstimulating,
Soothing.
But no, I don't listen to the radio. Like I'm not in touch with the charts. And
I like
things
listening to
that.
music. I can't stand listening to people trying to be personalities. No, that sounds really bad because I know there's some good ones out there. Leanne Campbell's really good, I think. Because she's Scouse and she's like, they're cool.
Yeah.
But,
Where's she from?
yeah. I think she's from Walton originally.
L20.
No, I think she's from Walton originally, but funnily enough, I think she actually lives in Crosby/Formby now.
Hey, your neck of the woods?
Nah, I reckon it's
Hey.
But yeah, I think it's frustrating at the moment, like to talk about like song choices and things at weddings.
Have you learnt any new songs this season?
Not ones that have been released recently. This is what I was going to
Go
say.
on. What's the song you've learned this year that you feel like you would thought you'd never ever sing? Put you on the spot here,
Definitely one.
Come on.
And I can't think of what it is.
I'm trying to
now.
think of like new wedding songs that like
This
you've
is the thing,
seen.
so-
Have you
going
noticed
on.
trends in certain songs? Certain songs you've been asked for more?
I was actually going to say, even though I'm not a singer and I shouldn't be answering this, but is country starting to make a massive appearance?
Yeah, well, it's like Beyonce and all that going down the country route, but
Hey, I've heard you sing that.
some people Beyonce.
What is it? What is the song called? No, I am sure.
I've
mate.
heard you sing
I
Beyonce.
do.
Yeah. You sang the...
XO, which is like
No, not EXO, the country one. You sang the country one.
Texas
Hold'em.
Hold'em, yeah.
Love
That's
that.
probably the most like charty
Can't stand
one,
it.
or like Sabrina
looking at it.
Carpenter or something that people like. They're like in the evening where it's like sing-alongy type stuff, but ceremony songs, very rarely is there anything that's like newly released. I feel like
I feel like they're more the classics.
It's always the classics, or like ones that are like hidden gems that aren't really used, but there are never any new ones. Maybe the most recent type of stuff is like First Dance, if it's like Jess Glynne or Becky Hill songs, that's more like the recent stuff. But
I was going to say, what is your favourite song to sing?
You're going to ask me this and I don't have the answer.
All right, well, if you could choose any song to sing at a wedding to show your best vocal
range.
Yeah, range is the word. Beth, pull your mic down, not
Oh my
blocking
God,
your face.
I don't know.
Well,
I
yeah.
really
Just
don't
like
know.
slow.
You're slouching. Look at your beautiful face.
Thanks. I love the Kylie one. Do you know, Love at First Sight?
Oh my
Honest to
God.
God.
The piano
I first said
version.
that. I didn't even do that when I edited Lauren and Tom.
Yeah.
She
Yes.
asked for that song, or that song was playing, and I was like, this song is
Yeah,
boss.
I've done a video recently of and that was their setup.
Yeah.
Did like a little bit of content.
What's it called? What's it called?
Just having
Love at
one
First
of
Sight.
those
Yeah.
days. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
because
one.
there's
Come on,
too
knock
many
it out.
songs.
Come on.
No, thank you.
No, but I must
Go on
admit,
my Instagram, guys.
honestly,
Probably
Abby,
kidding.
you've just literally read my mind, because the other day I was thinking I'm doing a reel for Instagram,
Yeah.
and obviously we ain't going to use your voice doing it,
Can
but
if you want, guys.
I was actually going to use the Carly
Yeah.
one, because since I've heard you sing it, I feel like that is a banger. That
Yeah, I'm a big fan of taking popular songs that are like dance songs and doing a piano or acoustic version of them for ceremonies, because when you slow them down or change them around a bit, you really listen to the words and it's like, wow, I never really knew that this song was about that or said these things. So I love anything that's
I
like,
was thinking of something that inappropriate.
oh
then.
God.
I was thinking of a
It's
funny.
not like you.
I was genuinely thinking of a song that's like, if it was slowed down, it still would sound
Rude.
inappropriate, and it was there's some hoes in this house.
Yeah. WAP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an exception of
Yeah.
slow
You know what I
down
mean?
and time.
But I actually feel like I've heard someone do like an acoustic version of that,
Probably.
like being funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
Ryan sat there looking, thinking, what's this they're talking
I've
about?
seen loads as well, and it's like really like heavy metal music and people who love like rock music, and they've had like the piano versions
Yeah.
of like Blink,
Paramore, isn't it?
yeah,
and stuff.
or Paramore and everything. And honestly, it just totally like it makes some moments like, and then I love it when the song's been on for like a minute and people are like, oh my God, is that this song?
Yeah.
Didn't know that
Yeah.
was this
What
song.
I was looking at
love
you
that.
for then, when I was a bit like blank faced, is because I seen, obviously on Instagram it shows you stuff that it thinks you might like, and I seen a wedding singer, probably in America or Canada, somewhere like that, and she sang the Pokemon theme song
Oh, stop it.
at someone's wedding. But like, don't get me wrong, it didn't sound any different. The words are obviously about this fucking kid's game.
Yeah.
But like, it was the reality of people not knowing, because she sang like a more mellow
Yeah.
Go ahead,
acoustic
do
version.
a version of it.
I don't know what the words are.
Yeah.
But like, she sang it and like she videoed it, and she could see people in the room, where they like zoom in and go,
Yeah.
he's just realised,
The
she's just
reaction,
realised,
yeah,
the
the
couple have just
reactions.
found out, like
Yeah.
that type of stuff.
Everybody, what is it? It's like
I will travel across the land, searching for
Put your mic back, please.
Do you think I've ever watched Pokemon?
I've watched
I would
Pokemon.
say.
And Mason was obsessed with it.
It was like a 90s thing, weren't it?
Yeah, it was a bit before my time, but because our Mason was obsessed with it, my little brother, by the way, she never had shout outs on this programme.
On this programme.
On this programme, and on this
On
episode.
this channel.
Yeah, he used to watch it all the time, so I could not get away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if song choices, like I could go on and on and on and on, but yeah, song choices is really important.
Mr. Kex.
Ryan's Pokemon out there, I think. He's getting all aggressive with his pants.
Seen a Charizard, oh shit, get that.
Hey, little reference there. Hey, you
I know
know.
me Pokemons, me. But we just said, because Abby wanted to bring it up, and then I thought about it, that I was actually thinking about it, funny enough, because I was not that you'd know, but I was actually looking in my little wardrobe today about like, what could I wear today
Your
that I
walk-in
haven't
wardrobe.
wore all the time? Because I feel like when I come here, I dress like I dress on a wedding day.
Yeah.
And one part of me today nearly put trackies and just like a sporty top on. I thought, no, you can't do that. This is like your version of you to the world. And I thought, like, and then you go out to wedding days and you'd have like a uniform as such.
Yeah.
But
I feel like it's
funny that you've
different.
brought it up, because that's what I wanted to talk about.
It's different for you guys because I feel like you are behind the camera, but you're still in view of
Everyone.
the guests. Yeah, I do think it's tough. But and then obviously you're on your feet all day.
Well,
You
I'll
need
always
to
wear
be-
trainees.
you
There's no
need to
compromise
be
there.
Comfortable, but I think everyone will have the same struggle. I mean, for me, it's quite tricky because one, I don't like to clash with the bridesmaid. So I usually, if I remember, I ask what colour the bridesmaids are wearing,
Because you wear quite like gowny style
well,
stuff. don't
yeah.
you?
So I've got like one, for example, is like I've got a black dress and it's got one shoulder, but I've been to weddings and the bridesmaids have been in black with like one shoulder. I'm thinking I just want to avoid looking.
That bridesmaid's a good
I know,
singer,
yeah.
isn't she?
The bridesmaids getting
I didn't know there was
around.
karaoke on.
Yeah.
She won't give anyone a go with the karaoke.
Yeah. So if I remember, I'll ask like, and also like, I don't really like to like clash with the colour scheme. Like I won't really wear like dead, like probably the girls will get this, but I don't really like to wear like dead loud.
We're effeminate young gentlemen, us, by the way.
Excuse me, Abby.
Go on.
But yeah, Beth's gone as well, so I can't even, can't even relate.
jump in.
Go on,
But,
put the camera on, Beth. She's gone. Gone to get her nails done.
Yeah, so I don't like to wear like loud prints that are gonna like
Yeah.
be too like distracting or like eye-catching or clash with things.
Didn't you just say there, just off air, that the wedding singer has wore white to a wedding day?
Yes, I've seen quite a few wedding
Ten,
suppliers
as if.
wearing white dresses or, you know, attire. So yeah, I've seen a couple of times, but I think because I am so conscious to not wear anything remotely near white, I just steer away from it completely. Like I won't even go for like a white pattern or anything. So yeah, I don't know, sometimes I'm just like, oh, it's just hard to know what's appropriate. And then obviously you don't want anything too short or too low, or like it's got to be appropriate. So I don't know if
There is a genuine thought process in it.
Yeah.
I think about it all the time. I remember way back when I first started out, and I didn't, like, I tend to have like a bit of a uniform now, thanks Zara.
Yeah.
But before that, I was just kind of...
Are you looking for a sponsor?
Zara
there?
collaboration.
I would fucking love a sponsor off Zara. By the way. What I'd also love off Zara is just for them to reopen the men's section in the
yeah,
Liverpool
and the
store,
kids one.
because it's been shut for about 6 to 8 months now, and it's
obviously
taking
not
the
a
piss.
priority, guys.
Well, obviously not, but the girls' bit's back open.
They've got the priorities.
Yeah,
right.
that's funny, isn't it? But anyway, I remember at one wedding I went to, and I'm sure one of the guests commented on my attire.
Yeah, nice.
Not that I've ever in the wrong way.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, because I just wore like it's just a t-shirt.
Was that the wedding? Yeah, then we
went. No, this was before we even really met. To be honest, this is how long ago we're talking. But it was because it was quite a swanky do, let's just say.
Right.
And everyone was like to the nine, super boosted. Like there was no scruffy auntie in the corner.
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. Scruffy auntie.
That's the thing.
Yeah, there's always one scruffy auntie.
the auntie sat there. I've got feelings.
No, you know what I mean. Normally, sometimes someone turns up and they haven't wore what you would wear for a wedding
Yeah.
day. That's what I'm getting.
Pair of 110s.
Pair of 110s, yeah.
Yeah.
Or a towel around the neck.
Yeah.
Um,
It was a hot day. All right.
but someone commented on the fact that I wasn't wearing a suit.
Oh, God.
And I think there was a once upon a time in like olden days where like your photographers or creators,
They still
or
do.
everyone
They still do.
wore a
Yeah.
suit, a tie, and it's changed a bit.
It's not suitable for your like.
It's not suitable for
what you're
we're
doing.
No, I don't think it is.
Like
I also don't think it's I don't think it's necessary either.
No.
Well, like Abby said,
You
we're
guys
not in
always
front of
look
the camera.
smart and-
I think the what we wear part is more a reflection of us to the outside world, and I permanently think about, you probably do as well,
Yeah.
not only how you are, what your like end product is for your couple,
Yeah.
but also what your impression is to the people around you.
Yeah.
For business savvy reasons, like
Yeah.
do you want to see your photographer / singer having a pint outside?
Yeah.
You don't.
No,
And so
I
when
don't.
people say to me, "Do you want a drink?" I will always say no. Every now and again, we'll have a little shandy in the summer, but we'll make sure that we like get out the way when we do, because
Yeah.
it's the perception of what you see.
Yeah, of
So I
course.
dress in a certain way now and like act in a certain way within reason. I'm still myself.
Yeah.
To onlookers, so that
And
the
they
way
probably
I'm perceived.
wouldn't notice it, but then they wouldn't notice it if you were doing
But I would
the
know.
bad and the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just the fact that it's gone unnoticed is good as well.
Yeah.
I mean, some people do appreciate it. Talking about that, when people say about drinking, loads of times I get offered like a glass of Prosecco,
course you do.
like please, please, please. And I genuinely am like, no, honestly, I'm fine. But it's because, as well, if I drink it, I'll be burping.
Yeah.
On the microphone.
Not good for you.
Like, no one wants to just no fizzy drinks when he's singing, so no.
Is there anything, and obviously I know we're going off on a bit of it, we're going back to the clothes sort of thing in a
Yeah.
second, because I want to read something out for you. But is there like a do's and a don'ts before a wedding morning for a singer that you would recommend to other singers who are potentially wanting to get into the industry?
With regards, like, generally,
Yeah, just like what not to eat, what not to
Oh,
drink,
yeah.
stuff like that.
Do you sing in the car on the way?
Yes,
Or just
definitely. You
save
need
it?
to warm up. You need to warm up. Like, I just used to be like,
Straight into these lads
yeah.
for me singing debut.
I
lessons.
just used to be like, oh, you don't need to warm up. It's just like a thing. But I could go on and on again. But like, you need to warm up just for like the sake of your vocal health and overall performance quality. I would say you need to warm up.
I learned something years ago when singers are on, sometimes when they like shout certain things, or like when, not shout, sorry, when they go like, come on guys, like that's part of like warming up your vocal cords.
Well, yeah, sort
believe.
of, yeah. Because it's a muscle, so you've got to, number one, train it, and number two, warm it up. It's like, if you were an athlete, you wouldn't do a sprint without...
no, that's very true,
Without
actually.
warm
But
up.
we've got an
so-
athlete on the couch.
I switch my cameras on and off loads of times before the wedding day just to make sure it's working.
Yeah, that's another thing. Be prepared. You've got to make sure you've got all your kit. You know your route. You've got fuel. You leave with enough time.
I had it this, I know you've just literally brought it back to me. I had it this year.
Just before we go on. Do you mean fuel or fuel?
Fuel.
Sponsored by my
Sponsored
mate. What's the fella's name who's part owner of it?
Stephen Bartlett.
Stephen Bartlett.
Steve Bartlett, if you're listening,
Shut
mate.
up.
I know you love a little entrepreneur. We're trying our hardest here. Thanks.
You can actually do a serious one if you want, and we can just send it to them.
I'm going to. We need some sponsors for this podcast. It's fucking shit.
Hey,
We're our own sponsors.
maybe it's a reflection on us. I've just lost my train of thought. That was it. This year,
Yeah.
I had single waiters.
Yes.
So obviously, they're a similar line to yourselves. They have to perform on the day, and they have to use equipment similar to yourself.
Yeah.
And there was two of them.
Yeah.
And what happened was, when they turned up on site at the venue, I'm not going to name names, but when they turned up the venue, said to them, do you need to do a sound check? Just to make sure
Ooh, I remember this. You told me
before we
about
asked
this.
people to come in. And they went, no, we never do sound checks. So, and then what happened was during the performance, because obviously one comes out and starts performing, and then
Yeah.
the second one eventually starts to sing. When the second person started to sing, his mic did not work.
working, yeah.
And then what happened was so mid-performance, and I don't think they were the most experienced singing waiters as it was. So
Yeah.
the person who had a mic, a working mic, basically just was very honest with the audience and was like, his mic's not working, so we're gonna have to wait for him, and I'll just stall. And that's how honest he was.
Yeah, but it's so easily avoided. Like, technology can fail you, but if you would have just took that 5 minutes to do the sound
The
check.
basics of
Yeah.
what a performer should do is make sure your gear's
But
working.
yeah, advice.
So if you're a singer, microphone's number one priority, isn't it?
Yeah,
But it was just, for me, as a stand-byer who was obviously capturing the moment, I wanted the floor to swallow me up as well as them, because
Yeah.
it just didn't scream professionalism at all.
No.
And I'm not, as I say, I'm not one to like badmouth anybody, but it
No.
was just very uncomfortable to
Yeah.
watch. And I don't think it was fair on the couple to witness and all the
No.
guests be a bit like,
I know. I mean,
so-
things like that can happen, of course, like even if you did sound check, but it can be easily avoided by being prepared, I say.
Would you have like a mic on another second mic like nearby?
Yeah, spares.
Yeah.
I've just got spares of everything, wires.
Yeah.
I feel like you've got to. So if there are any singers listening, sometimes it's easier to take the bare minimum because it's more compact. But yeah, I would just take everything with you basically.
Definitely, yeah, you need it, don't
Yeah,
you?
warm
Like
up
us.
and make sure you've
I
got.
always take extra everything just in case.
Yeah, make sure you've got bottles of water because some venues don't supply bottle like even stock.
A drink.
In
But they don't- they don't
2024.
stock water, you know what I mean? Bottles, yeah. Just be prepared. Do everything the night before.
Okay, so
Such an easy
back to our clothes. This is just to tie up the clothes section, I would say, because you know it's not my favourite topic. I'm a very plain Jane.
You always look smart though.
Oh,
You've
thanks.
got a nice polo or something on.
Ryan,
That's to
you
me.
all do, you
Don't
all
get
do.
jealous.
I know.
Because
Oh,
you're
okay.
always like, you know. So the compliment came from our good friends Mimi Bell Events.
Oh, God.
They love you. But they actually said, can we give Abbie a shout out for wearing the world's most uncomfortable shoes for the whole of her wedding set in the name of fashion?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's actually so funny. I've got this pair of heels and I will not part with them because they are the comfiest things. Because obviously you're on your feet all day, you guys know, but I've got a pair of heels on. Like I would never wear anything other than heels, to be honest. They are the comfiest and they're due to be replaced, but they've stopped making them. And I won't part with them because they're the only comfy
I feel like that's such a girl dilemma, isn't it? Like,
They've stopped
stop
it.
making
I've
them.
looked
I've had that
everywhere.
experience.
I've looked everywhere. I've looked on Vinted. I've looked like eBay, like the new way.
Seriously?
If anyone can find me, I don't know what the make and model are. There's a few Webster ones. Don't know the model. But if anyone can find the black ones with the little platform.
We'll insert like a little picture in the box at the top corner.
Yeah, but guys,
Wanted.
you've got to look like it's all in the name of looking presentable and looking like, you know, looking
I
the
am
part.
a big fan of it. I've actually been thinking about ways to like change my look for the new year, and doesn't have to sound proper mingy to say.
Well, you said it.
So we're talking about weddings of the week, but I want to talk about their wedding of the week.
She does, yes.
Okay.
Go on, Ab.
So Danielle and Paul Culshaw Hall,
Shout out Culture Hall.
they
So many shout outs today.
they weren't this week. I'd say they were last week. The most gorgeous couple. I've just in
Fell
every
in love
sense
with
of
them.
the word. Yeah, just fell in love with them. Even on the run up, they were just absolutely lovely on the day. Yeah, just everything. Their friends and family were gorgeous. But they had a little bit of a dilemma on the run up, and they actually couldn't secure a registrar. So I suggested a celebrant, which they
Brilliant
had
suggestion.
not really heard of. Yeah, so just bigging up the celebrants, really. I know that some people don't even know that it's a thing and it's an option. But I've done a few now, celebrant ceremonies, and they've all been absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, if
It's
you
funny.
get
It's
married,
funny you say that, because we had a call last night, me and Ryan.
I was just going to say that.
And the couple told us about their having a celebrant, and the first thing that come out of mine and Ryan's mouth was how much more enjoyable they are and
Yeah.
how much more personal they are.
Personal,
And also
gorgeous.
for like the guests who are witnessing it take place, they instantly relax and enjoy it,
Yeah.
rather than, and some ceremonies can be so formal where the
and it's
guest is just,
disconnected. There's a
Honestly,
disconnect.
yeah.
You switch off sometimes because
I
you're thinking, what are they
think-
talking about?
I think as well, it ties into this whole tradition to reality. Like nowadays, everything's coming thingy, and like I think once upon a time you had to have a priest.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
and then all of a sudden it became you had registrars. I think the celebrants are like the next forefront
Yeah.
of that personal journey.
I think
I
from a
think they're
videographer point,
gorgeous.
I was going to say from a videographer point of view, selfishly, I would wish for them every single day of the week.
I
Yeah.
would. And it's not a bad
so
mouth all the
if-
registrars out there. by
If
the
you
way.
are getting married and you've not heard of a celebrant, definitely look into it as an option, because it might be for you.
I would.
Well, we've talked about all kinds of guests from all different walks of life being on this thing, and we'll get a celebrant on it at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
To be able to talk. And if you are a celebrant and you are listening and you
wanna-
want to be on it, reach out, because we've got a few in mind, but
Yeah.
we'd rather it be someone that like wanted to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
'Cause
And it was a gorgeous ceremony. It was quite fairly brief, as in it wasn't very long, but it was just perfect for them. Like it just suited them. You know, they'd already had a child. You know, it was just like
Yeah.
it was just perfect, and the words that the things that they talk about, it's just so personal, and I just think the guests can relate to what's
Yeah,
being
definitely.
talked
It's very
about.
humorous as well at times,
it's
isn't it?
more
they always make a
personal,
joke, don't
yeah.
they? They tell a story about how they met
Yeah.
in like some dingy bar or whatever.
Yeah, and
Not
hereby
just
Bethan-
bog standard I-dos.
Yeah, hereby Bethan did the hair as well.
Oh, shout out our
just-
good friend Bethan.
But I pray we're on.
Oh!
Yeah.
It's actually pronounced Apres, but we'll let you have that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just gorgeous.
Which is the
gorgeous
after party.
people. So yeah, that was my wedding of the week.
Lovely. I'm glad you got it in.
It's question time.
Whoop whoop. I love that.
Oh.
Love that.
Beth, watch your back, girl. That was a
Yeah.
good one, that.
That was a good
Come
one. Are you reading the questions or do you want me to? Because I've got them. all.
Where are they?
I've got them. Right. First question is from one of our previous listeners, previous guests, which I always love when our previous guests send in a question for the newest guest on the podcast. It does make a difference, and obviously they are a huge supplier in the industry. It's our good friend Sarah, who's known as the Paper Doll,
Gorgeous Sarah.
and she's basically asking, when is the next wedding industry get together?
Oh, this is what I keep getting asked after our little mix-up.
You've set the bar high, you know, Abby.
I know. I've been toying with a couple of ideas, to be honest. Could, depending on the feedback, could maybe do one in January.
Again, January.
Yeah, but is that a good time? Like, I want to know,
I think
like,
that's perfect time for,
Yeah.
for
because
us
we've
as,
had a busy Christmas.
as like suppliers.
quite quiet on,
You know what I
like,
mean? January's
on the
not,
work
is it?
front. I mean, apart from the fact it's grim and cold.
I was going to say, it sounds a bit I don't know whether it's like right or wrong this, because there's a lot of money that goes into sort of organising something like that. Would you do it as like a ticket thing?
This is the thing. So it's a bit of a sticking point why I've not progressed with it and flown off with it is the cost. So yeah, maybe a ticket thing. So if it was including like a welcome drink and entertainment or whatever, like, or if I spoke to the venue to see if we could do some sort of
Collab.
Yeah, or if any suppliers wanted to get involved.
Sponsor the event.
Yeah, obviously I don't like to ask people for things.
Little
for nothing.
tax evasion there.
Or if any singers are interested in coming and doing a few, it's just a great way to meet people.
Network, isn't it?
Yeah.
The mix is a good idea.
Again, it's the costs. Like it can be.
I honestly think West Tower would be a great venue for it, because they're always wanting to like give back to like suppliers.
They do
and stuff.
nothing in January. I was actually talking to
That's
the
a
lad
really
bar
good
last week.
Venue as well.
Shout, to be honest.
Honestly, Steph is like she's so lovely in that sense, isn't she?
She'd probably give you the venue for free.
Do you think people
No
would
pressure.
pay? What do you think people would pay a little ticket on it?
Let me just say, from my
it.
point of view, I would.
Yeah.
This has become like a running personal joke for us now.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a
night out.
a Christmas night out.
You don't really have colleagues, like a work.
Well, that's
night
what I
out,
mean.
yeah.
We don't, and we've joked
Self-employed.
about us because like we're kind of colleagues, I suppose, aren't we?
Yeah.
We say like,
don't
is
get
this-
ahead of yourself
even in
there.
like March, we go, is this our Christmas night out?
Yeah.
If we go for like a tea somewhere,
Yeah.
is this our Christmas night out? So I personally would pay a ticket
If it
to go.
included like food and
Not
entertainment.
even- I wouldn't even be asked about food, to be honest.
Yeah. And also
Somewhere to go.
He's
Yeah.
a cheap date, Ryan.
It's kept me out the house. Yeah, it's just a great way. And also I think ticketed is good because you don't have to be like invited.
Yes.
It can be open
Do you know what is another thing then? So we've got 2 polls to put out after this episode, and the second one is to all the wedding suppliers, basically saying, would you come to like a get together in the industry with everyone from the industry?
Well, Andy Murphy does one, doesn't he? Yearly.
Yeah, but his are always his like group of friends. He doesn't like just invite
But
anybody.
how does he put that on? Like, does he do it tickets? Does he
Because
do
I
it?
wouldn't like anyone to feel like they've not been included. Like,
Well-
that's why I don't really want to do it on an invite front.
Yeah.
Unless it, yeah. So I think tickets is a good way to keep it, like, open to whoever wants to come. Because when I did my event, I had some people messaging me saying, I know
Where was
that
my
you
invite?
don't know me, but can I come on my own, you know? And they made connections and made friends.
I loved
and
yours.
met
Can I
people,
just say,
yeah.
honestly,
Yeah, it was sick.
I loved your
Yeah.
night.
So
was
let's
brilliant.
do it, guys. Maybe the end.
Well, do you know what? I think from our point of view, we should sort of help in any way we can, because we loved it that much. We would get involved in trying to
Yeah,
help,
but
even though you don't probably need it.
People need a night off as well, which is also what I'm trying to promote. Like, it's where you don't have to work, because when you're at a wedding, even if it's like your friend's wedding, but you still are getting asked to do the photos, you can't relax. So
Yeah.
I want everyone to be able to chill.
Lovely. Next question is, and I think you probably get this all the time, and I feel like someone asked this last time. Dream celebrity to do an event for or sing for? It's a bit of a double question,
It's
really.
got to be a Kardashian because their events are off the scale. Like, honestly, the
Which
way
one?
that they do it, any of them, all
you're
their
listening.
events.
Well,
Yeah.
fully enough,
Is
is
that
she?
Little Beth?
Little Beth Illustrations got like deep connections with them, hasn't
Well,
she?
yeah,
She's
she's
got an-
just done Sabrina Carpenter as well.
Yeah.
She liked her posts, yeah. But yeah, because their events are just insane. So I'd love to do something
That's the
that
dream.
scale, yeah.
Yeah.
And then singing wise, I don't really know, you know.
Who would you want to sing for?
I
It's a bit
like-
Mr. President, happy
I
birthday,
like
innit?
flit in and out of like, I go through like phases with like my music, what I like to listen to and things like that. So I feel like it's always changing.
I think it's
Come back
sing.
to me on
It's
that
sing for though.
Sing for Simon Cowell. You can, well, I know I said that about X Factor, but
Gusto sales girl.
I feel like he's got the most connections.
He has,
maybe.
And I think he's mellow, isn't he, with his age now, Simon?
Yeah.
He's a bit of a nice guy now, I think.
Yeah.
Since all that reconstructive work.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can see his actual
Totally
real
different person,
impression.
Actual face.
Fave bride ever from
Ever.
Try and guess who it's from. Who's the person who's asking questions like that?
You don't have to guess, don't worry. But who is your favourite bride ever?
Oh my God.
Was it Danielle from the other week?
I mean, she was good as a person.
Do you have a fave?
No.
I don't know how you would answer that, because
I do not
what would
think
separate
that.
someone who's a bad
Well, it's-
bride from a good bride?
Mimi Relevance of Centre.
Yes, I think
close to the grey
people,
Both of them.
couples who appreciate music and love music, I think are always great because music's a big part of their life. It's a big part of their day. There's a lot of couples who like don't really connect through music. It's not really got any significance to it. So I think the people who've got have had a vision in their mind with the music the whole time, and I help it.
And you're in that vision.
Yeah. Like I feel like we always work really well together. But I don't have a favourite bride. They're all just as gorgeous.
What a good save that is.
Round a post. Go on.
And the last, well, not the last question, but biggest wedding ick.
Oh my God.
Now this is nothing to do with like singing or
What you just ate.
what bugs you about wedding days. This is a good question. I think we all should answer this.
I think it's such an open one, yeah.
Are you gonna answer first, right?
Give me a second to think. Do you have one?
I'm gonna say at this moment in time, and I'm gonna get cancelled for it again. Is definitely suppliers overshooting behind the scenes.
That's a very
I know. I just feel like, from a business point of view, we're all getting really sidetracked, and we're all falling under that. We're all basically jumping on the same train. It's like we need to
we're
get.
all trying to do the same thing.
Just for likes and views, and I understand it makes sense from a business point of view, but from like, I don't know, an authentic point of view, I feel like we're getting lost with it too much, and I blame social media.
This last week,
blame social media for it.
I struggle so much for content, to be honest, because on the day,
I think you're very judgmental. You're so judgmental though of your own work.
I would like to do more content, but I don't. At the end of the day, it's someone's wedding day, so I'm not going to stop everything else going on because I'm getting a video now.
No, but I've seen, and it's not like I'm bad mouthing this at all, because I think it's from a singer's point of view, you're showing your work off. But the amount of singers I see with like little tripods with cameras on,
I always forget.
Loads, so many.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I understand why you should do it, because people are seeing you basically on the day.
Yeah, it's just tricky because you can't, if you've not got a tripod, you can't take it of yourself really. So I do find the content.
Right, what's your biggest ick?
I
I wouldn't even say mine was an ick, by the way. It's just something that's it's something that I'm noticing more and more, and I think it's taking away a little bit from the day, just a tiny bit. But that's me just being very picky, I think. Come on, biggest ick. Don't be trying to give off this like good representation.
I'm not. I was actually thinking then. I just want to be like an ass, but I literally can't think.
I think mine is people trying to do too much in one part of the day, like cramming too much. Like too much is going on.
Like high expectations for the day, and then the time's not there.
Cramming in like what's going on at that point. Like I've got this, and then I've got this at this time. Then this is like it's like too much. Like you don't know where to.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? It's funny you say this, because it's just come to me now. I've noticed it in recent times again, and it's happened on 2 occasions very recently, where 2 singers, obviously different people, have been at weddings, and because the days ran over, the times that they've been there, one of them just went home. You recall that one? Remember? The girl was doing after the food, wedding breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, the wedding breakfast had ran over. Her time slot, she was only there from like a designated time where she couldn't stay any later.
Yeah.
Because she had another job on. So she was like, I'm basically being paid not to sing.
Yeah.
And she was devastated, because she was like, I feel so bad in the couple. But she had no other choice.
It's out of your control, isn't it?
And then I've had it once where, again, the venue have said to the singer, you're only singing for an hour because of the way things have ran on today. You only got an hour. And he was like, but they've paid me for 2.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we don't care.
Yeah. I think another ick as well for me is like when things aren't like built up through the day. So it's like backwards. It's not an ick, but like it frustrates me when I know that a certain thing would have gone down better if it was later, or vice versa as well. I think that, again, that's people not really knowing.
We spoke about this again.
We literally had this conversation last night with one of our couples who were coming up, and we did the consultation with, and they were talking about certain things that they wanted to put into place on their day. And one of the things they wanted to do was a sparkler shot.
Yeah.
And I think, was it the venue said to them, like, it'd be good if you got to the night time, you did your first dance, and then go out and do your sparklers. And we were like, realistically, at this time of year now, in like October, November time, it goes darker a lot sooner.
Yeah.
So when you've got that lull between when you come out of your like food, if you like, your wedding breakfast before the nighttime really starts, there's quite a substantial bit of time there where you could do it. Yeah. So it was our instruction of like, instead of doing it after your first dance, which would like kill the vibe.
Yeah.
Do it beforehand as a build up. Because
Yeah.
that's like, that gets a lot of people like hyped up, doesn't it? During the
Yeah.
sparklers, when you really jazz it up.
Yeah.
Go straight in the first dance and off you go.
And that's where we are valuable with our
Massively.
experience, and we can
Yeah.
advise people like that might not flow, or really, would you not have that at this time and then this at this time? So, but some people just go
With what
throw
you've
out,
said.
or what they think whoever's listening. And that's part of like the planning, and as well as like that sort of advice of when the appropriate time would be to do certain things.
Lovely. So that is it actually for questions. But there is a business, Bake My Day Liverpool, that sent in a really, really lovely message by the sound of things. I haven't had a chance to fully read it. So here it is. Hey, thought I would send feedback as you asked for it in the latest pod. Which, by the way, please send us feedback as much as if you are listening and you listen weekly. And obviously we don't do them weekly, but if you listen as like if you listen religiously and you've listened to lots of episodes, feedback is massive to us because we want to know what direction we need to go in and what's like nice to listen to, so we don't talk about stuff that you're not wanting to listen to, basically. So yeah, thought I would send feedback as you asked for it in the latest pod. I enjoyed the episodes being as long as they are. I work from home on my own, so it's always nice to have something to listen to / relate to. Everything you speak about / guests you have on are always interesting to me. We love your work, video and photography, and also having an insight of what happens behind the scenes is fab. Also, as a bride to be, I feel like I've learned many tips and tricks, so thank you. Ryan loves that saying,
Definitely
tips and
listen to you
tricks.
there, doesn't she?
As soon as we decide on a venue, I will sure to get my wedding booked in your diaries. Okay, I didn't know that was coming up. How lovely is that? Keep up the good work, and I don't want to read the last bit. It says, Josh, hurry up and pop the question, will you? Hey!
Sensitive.
Honest to
How
God.
gorgeous is that?
That is such a lovely message, to be honest with you. And I always feel like when people send stuff, like messages in like that, I always get a bit, not overwhelmed, but just really like taken back, thinking, oh my God, like
There's real
The
people out
tears in
there.
your eyes already.
I know. But it makes it worthwhile for us doing the podcast, because you feel like you want to be talking to somebody who's, what's the word, resonating with what you're saying.
This is what I was going to ask you, is like, what do you feel like, I suppose you don't know if you don't get the feedback, but what would you say the majority of people are suppliers or couple, like brides to be? Like,
I just think...
because you aim for, like,
for
everyone
in
can
my
relate.
opinion, like, I don't know. This is half the problem is I don't know truly who listens, because we look at the analytics all the time and we see the numbers, but we don't necessarily see their faces. And the only people who really ever get in touch is people that we know. Or people who've like previously been a couple of ours or whatever like that. We really don't know anyone coming up unless someone says something like that.
So nice
it's,
to hear.
It's hard to gauge.
Yeah.
Really.
That's why the feedback's good.
That's why the feedback's imperative. I mean, look at him. You ever seen him go so emotional?
Hey.
Blushing.
Black spot over there.
No, I was just gonna say, like, on that topic, it is for us. It puts us in the right direction, doesn't it? Where we need to
Vital.
be.
I think
You've
as well,
done
like,
such a good job, guys. Like,
we-
honestly.
Thanks,
we
Ab.
said it before, like, we are like a self-sponsored podcast. We don't have anyone that's like helping us do this.
No.
We're just doing this off
And
our
you're
own
busy
backs
people.
in our own free time, which we don't have much of. And we're putting other things on the back burner, and like in some cases probably not getting looked at in the best light by our individual relationships and everything. Like, oh, now you're doing that again. But like,
what for? Like,
what is it for?
Yeah.
And if we don't feel like there's a conversation,
Yeah.
how would we know to continue to go?
That's why
Like,
the
someone might say
feedback's
to us next
key.
week, do you know what, you're absolutely crap, can you just fuck off? Like, it's not gonna happen, but I mean, we would know at least.
Yeah. But honestly, you do such a good job. And like, when you said you were starting it, I, like, this is that cheesy, but like, it's quite inspiring for like, for other people to just go for it. Just like see what happens. Like, I just think it is. Like, you honestly done a really good job, and I'm glad it's back after the break.
What do you think on the new space? This is the first time you've been here. What do you think?
Fabulous. It's really, honestly, it's
got a long way to go,
done
like.
really well, considering you all have got families and full-time self-employed jobs. Like, you've really given a good go I'm not saying that sounds patronising. That sounds patronising, but
for having a go.
you've done it properly, like all the equipment, like the set, everything. Like you're not done it half-heartedly, but it's honestly,
If only she knew.
it's like, and I love it personally.
Oh,
so.
nice.
These couches that we robbed and that rug that we joked about, like,
That's not a rug.
where's that from? B&M.
No sponsors here. I don't know, actually, you know, I think it is like
Little IKEA number.
it is something really just very, very semi-temporary.
Can I just say as well, I don't even know why I've just only thought about this now, but we, talking about like people noticing us, this is something that still hasn't really like came to fruition yet. But the other week, I don't know if we mentioned in the last one, actually, we definitely didn't. We had a message from the International Wedding Show, which is like a UK-wide thing about like how they'd found us. Can't tell you now because obviously we've only got about 1,000 people listening to us or following us even.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read the message out?
They've reached out to us. Wow. Go on, you can read the message out. And we just kind of basically said like, keep doing what you're doing.
Amazing.
Which is kind of a I wouldn't say the whole reason, but it was one of the reasons that we were like, because it does get proper stressful, especially when you're starting to like try and organise what times people are here, let alone just us, because there's 3 of us with 4 kids to sort out, 2 of which are in school, 2 of which are not. Then a guest and their lifestyles, like.
What would you like to do? Like, not a goal, but like, where would you like to see? Are you happy? But like, obviously, it's fantastic as it is. But like, would you just like to do like live things?
So this,
or like like workshop.
This could be a potential, really. So they messaged us saying, "Hello, we've really been enjoying your podcast. It's made us laughing here in their office. There must be a few people in the office who have listened to it. We want to reach out as we are keen to partner with a podcast next season for our Wed Talk stage. Please do let me know." And they have got like a big following. They've got like 80,000 followers on it.
But they're like an internet. Obviously, we do little wedding fairs. They're like a wedding fair.
They're the national wedding show
for like the whole country.
Unreal.
So that for us was like, fucking hell,
well, you guys are like what to listen to for our industry. It's like there's other things about like makeup or different lines of work or whatever, but it's people, and it can be a lonely job when you work for yourself on your own. So instantly by listening, you feel like you're making connections with people, almost like friends. It's great.
Well, Carla Knight's a big ambassador for that for us.
Yeah,
she's really like
so sweet.
She is so sweet, to be honest with you. She for me was one of those like integral people who like really isn't ashamed to tell you. And like she shows every time she listens, as to you. You always post that you're listening to our stuff and that, and we really love that.
And it only takes 1 minute. If it's on your like
I know.
I believe what he just thought.
I've literally just been giving you like the hints.
Right.
I've been giving him hints the whole time, and he hasn't like realised.
Oh my god, I'm scared.
You must know what it is.
I've got a feeling.
Merry Christmas.
So I can't believe. By the way, funnily enough, like Abbie was our first ever guest, and to be fair,
What did you say?
Guest.
Finally, a gas.
Said it with an accent. But you don't know this, but you're not only because of you were one of the first ones, but just through general, like week on weeks when we watch those analytics, your podcast, the first one, is still the top seeded
You
one.
are the
just
top
in front of Lee Morrison, I must say.
Yeah.
Lee Morrison's got a high count.
He's got competition.
But like even since then, like obviously you were the first one, so you would obviously have more. It's come across. But even some of the ones that we've done since, on like a month-to-month basis, you've still gone above. So people must really love you, Ab.
The waffle's worth it, guys.
The waffle's worth it. But one thing we never did at that time, because we didn't have them, was give you a certain thing which represents your attendance, which we've got here, which I'll try and open for you. If you
and
just
you know that this is going to be used by me, because you know I take my own one of these.
Going on about it, to be honest.
I take my own one to every job. People look at me like, why have you got your own
mug?
So I've opened it just enough so you can still kind of open it like a gift.
Okay.
But this one, not that anyone else isn't special, but this one really feels special to us because we've joked about it away from reality in the DMs and all that about, still haven't got that cup. Yeah. Here is that moment. Poor Vu.
Oh, thanks, guys.
So you have a little open of that.
Yay.
Should we start gift wrapping these? No.
Yeah, I just put a little.
I left it in there so you know it's brand new. We haven't been drinking out of it.
Unused. Yeah, baby.
There it is. In all its glory. Oh, we are.
Honestly,
We've got a little bit of vocal cords there. Oh.
this will get used because I take. Many people know that I take my own mug to all my jobs because the mugs that they give you are like 2 sips worth. So this will be very well appreciated.
Thanks, Ab.
Thanks,
Really.
guys.
I'm glad you're happy with it. I've actually never drank out of it.
Not that use. I've got
I
one in the
know.
house that I drink out of all the time.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'll give you one of mine next time.
Yeah.
Have you got a cup?
I've got my own merch. I've got my own mug that I take with my logo on. But this is.
Say what?
This is a good.
Where can people purchase these items?
No, it's not. It's just for me.
Money this.
I'd have to pay people to use it. But yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks for spending your time with us this
No
morning.
problem.
Lovely to say.
I didn't know. Do you live in Southport?
I do live in Birkdale.
Ooh, she's
Yes.
It all makes sense now.
It's me.
No, but yeah, like
Thanks,
Josh says,
guys.
thanks so much. And thanks for everyone for listening. As I say, get your things in and there'll be a couple of polls out for you.
Get your feet.
I'm going to do the polls now while I'm thinking of it.
And we'll go from there.
Amazing.
Thanks,
you.
Abby.
Thanks.
Oh, Hanlon.
See ya.